And there we are. We are live. All right. So, welcome, everybody. What if I told you that some of the most powerful men in America are currently eating nothing but steak and sauerkraut? And I'm talking about Robert F. Kennedy, J.D. Vance, and several other high ranking officials. They're following what's called the living diet. You may have heard of this. It's created by Dr. Sean O'Mara, and perhaps you've heard of him too. It's basically a carnivore diet with the emphasis on grass-fed ruminant meat, and then he also endorses eating fermented vegetables alongside with it. Thus the steak and sauerkraut going together. So the New York Times just wrote a whole piece about it. I'll put it up on the screen and I'll share a link with it later. And the reporter there even tried it for a week and documented his whole experiences, including some very colorful claims about his urine color and bowel movements. But we're going to break all that down tonight. We're going to talk about what is the living diet. Is it a form of carnivore you might want to try? Maybe. Is it a form of carnivore you're currently trying? If anyone's a fan of Dr. O'Mara, or if someone is doing the living diet as he writes about it, we'd love to hear from you, either live or on the chat. And then, of course, what does this mean now that this style of eating is no longer just an online social cult following kind of thing, but now it's reached the highest levels of power in the country? You know, that's also interesting to see keto and carnivore really start to dip its toes into the mainstream. So welcome, my friends, to Monday Night Live here on Carnivore Talk. If you're not familiar with this channel or our Monday night program, then listen closely. We love a meat-based nutritional approach, and this means, yes, we love a strict carnivore diet. But it also means that we love you who are meat-based ketovore, keto, animal-based, paleo, and consider you our brothers and sisters also. And so we want to hear from you. Monday night is also... Go ahead.
Can I still point fingers and laugh?
What's that?
Can I still point fingers and laugh at
You
them?
can still point fingers and laugh. But we do so in good love and good spirit here. Monday night is also open chat night. And everyone is welcome to come on screen as our surprise guest and talk to us face to face, whether you are on a similar health journey or are still researching it. We're here to encourage you, motivate you, answer your questions, and more. So the link to join us on screen is, if you're watching on YouTube, which the grand majority of you are, is pinned in the chat. If you happen to be tuning in over on X or Facebook, I'm sending it right now. And you can click that link and you can join us on screen. It's a lot of fun. And you get to talk to us face to face. If you're new to YouTube and you're kind of wanting to do this thing, this is kind of a good way to break the ice and get used to it. And you can restream this if you like. You don't have to, though. And also we'll be bringing up a lot of comments in the chat. And so if you have any questions, preface them with some cues and a question mark. The software I use will then kind of highlight them for me so I can make sure that we don't ignore them. And we don't ignore any of them. Sometimes we get very behind. You know, as more important people join on the screen, we'll get very behind. And, you might ask a question and it could be an hour later we actually get around to answering it because we get behind on the chat sometimes. But we try our best, so please bear with us. So thank you, everybody. Glad to see you here. Jeff, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been cutting and welding in 103-degree weather for the last 3 days on farm equipment. Rebuilding some stuff, fixing some stuff. Now I'm building some racks to get all my spare metal up off the ground. I do a lot of fabricating and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm kind of tired and wore out. Although I can handle the heat in my old age, it does sap my strength after a while. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
All right. Very good. I agree with you on the tiredness level today. I was telling you a little bit backstage before we went live. I was tiling a kitchen floor today. Who did Corey tile? I still got some of the crud on my hands here, and man, I thought it was going to be an easy day. I'd be home early. I didn't get home till 6:15, and then I had to kind of rush and put this thing together tonight. So I've yet to have a chance to kind of just chill and relax. So I'll be doing that tonight with you guys. All right. Join us on stage. We'd love to have you here. Let's say hi to some people in the chat. I'll scroll up here before we get too far behind here. We have Linda Flanagan was first in the gate. Says hello, everyone. And we have Running Tap and Jamette is here. And of course, Jeff is Geezy the Carnivore. He's on screen. He's also one of our moderators, which I might be adding some more. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me. Let's see here. Jamette's listening and multitasking. That's good. Very good. And we have Uncle Charlie. Says, good evening, my brothers and sisters. What a beautiful evening it is in God's paradise. All right. Glad to see you in a chipper mood, Uncle Charlie. Oh, we have our second. Well, Jeff's not a guest. Jeff's kind of like my partner in crime. So here's our first surprise guest is Kelly. How you doing, Kelly?
Hold on 1 minute. I'm sharing. Sure. I'm sharing this streaming to my. There we go. Now I can see everyone. I'm doing okay. I get my pre-op appointment tomorrow, and of course, I had a great time. Went to Indiana for a meetup for Dustin Keto Simple, but unfortunately, Friday night I had to go use the restroom and went to go kind of bend down on my, kind of bend over to raise the seat up, and all of a sudden a sharp pain come from the back, and so I'm having a little trouble right now. I am so ready for this hip to be replaced because I think the hip is affecting it, but it's more of my SI joints where this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting better each day, but like this morning I woke up, I'm like, all right, I don't have to have the cane. And then I went to go weigh myself, and then I went to go bend down, and all of a sudden I irritated that SI joint. And so I'm like, well, almost kind of back to square one.
Yeah, and so that's coming up soon, right? August was your
August
surgery.
28th.
All right, 18 days and counting. Okay, I'm sure you're looking forward to having all that rectified.
Yes.
And we certainly wish you the best. All right, very good. All right, we'll continue saying some hi in the chat here, and we'll get over to our theme in a bit. Bill Cook is in the house. Oh, Bill. He's getting his third PSA test Wednesday. You know what? I had that. I'm gonna try and multitask. I had mine, but I don't know what it means. So let me look it up. Figure we have a lot of people in here with have had PSA tests. And if I don't understand this, maybe you can help me. Patient portal and sign in. And then I'll look at that in a minute. Also, Carnivore Wayne is in the house. He says, hey. Isabella Goyer is here. And then, let's see here. Pam Young. Good evening, Pam. Good to see you. Cranky Carnivore Cutler from Tucson, Arizona, where it's a cool 96 degrees.
Oh, that is cool. That is cool. Compared to what we've been dealing with all weekend, yeah.
I was in the 80s for us today. We had thunderstorms roll in. So right now, according to my computer, it's 69 degrees. So
it's 99 right now in the shop, so that already feels better.
All right. Let's see here. Bill Cook says, fingers crossed. Faith Fueling Footsteps. It's Desiree from Nebraska. I'm walking out in this darn heat. Have a great show. All right. Enjoy your walk. And here, this will give Jeff something to talk about while I look at my test results. Here's a question from Bill Cook. Jeff, did you do a contrast MRI or a non-contrast?
Yeah, we've been actually discussing it. Yeah, I do. I do contrast. And like I said later on, it's my understanding. I mean, they do contrast because they're looking for specific things in my prostate when they're doing it, or in my lungs when they're doing a CT scan. And I guess they gotta do it to make things show up. I'm not sure how all that stuff works, but it's just my understanding it has to be done if you can tolerate it. And I can tolerate it. It doesn't bother me.
All right, very good. I just looked at my PSA. It was
See, I'll be
1.2
well, and see,
normal.
and see that's something. So I had an appointment with my oncologist. Last week told you about that. Uh, then that same day I went in for a PSA with my urologist. Good news is all the blood clots were dissolved in my lungs, but there's a spot in there they want to look at. I'm sure it's going to be gone by the time I go back for my next CT scan. That won't be until October, anyways. But so go get the PSA test, and then Friday I go back for my consultation on it, and my numbers have jumped up again. And every time I get a PSA test, my numbers are going up. And supposedly my cancer is very small. Not much there. It's been tested. It's not aggressive. All this, and my doctor just doesn't understand why my PSA numbers keep climbing. And so now he wants to do another MRI. Of course, it'll be with contrast. And depending on how it looks, he may want to do another biopsy, which I'm not the least bit thrilled about. And I still have to decide whether I'm going to go ahead and go through another biopsy or not. But I have started an N-of-1 experiment, Nick Norwood style, documenting everything, keeping close track, following it to the letter. My buddy Rodney has really been pushing me to try something for cancer treatment that a lot of people seem to have had some marvelous success with. And it's not carnivore by any stretch. In fact, it's an herb, an herbal drink, an herbal tea called the Essiac tea. And we mentioned it last week. Anyhow, so mine came in the same day as I got my results. So the very next day I started using it. I'm using it exactly as the protocol says to use it. And I'm documenting it, and I will do a 6-month trial on this. So I can report my findings to the public, to the people, to Essiac, the company. They take testimonies. So what I'm looking to see is if this will bring down my PSA numbers and if it changes anything in the cancer at all. There's been some miraculous, stories, and in the past I wouldn't have believed much as far as stories went, but all we have in our community in carnivore are anecdotes, for the most part to go by. We listen to what each other has to say and what it's done for them, and then we try it ourselves and find a lot of the things that have helped others help us as well. And so that's what I'm doing with this. I'm seeing a lot of anecdotal evidence. So I'm going to give it a try. At worst case, I'm out of a little bit of money. At best case, I change this cancer around in me. We'll see what happens with it. But it's going to be an interesting journey.
All right. Let's see here. We have Brian Dish says hi. And Running Tap, this is a good question. How many names do we need for our appropriate diet? So, and that is a good point, and that's why I try and emphasize that we all fall under the same umbrella. We're all on the same team. In my introduction, when I talk about, a meat-based paleo and animal-based, and this actually meat-based, ketovore, carnivore. We're all the same. This Living Diet by Sean O'Mara, so which is part of our theme, and that might have been what prompted your question. So, it is a carnivore diet. If you've heard of Sean O'Mara, let me know in the comments. What do you tell me what you think of his diet or his content or what you know about him. But anyway, the reason he calls it the living diet is because in fermented foods, there will be living bacteria. Okay, so the primary food is the flesh of grass-fed ruminants, such as beef, bison, elk, venison, and he really if you can get grass-fed, he's regularly highly recommends the grass-fed. And ruminants are preferred because they ferment their food in their multiple stomachs. So fermentation is going to be an overarching theme here. And that's the primary pillar of the diet. So meat. So it is a carnivore diet. The second pillar is as many different fermented foods as possible. That could be in the form of sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented beets, carrots, radishes, yogurt, kefir, kvass, aged cheeses, and then to avoid naturally the things that the rest of us are avoiding anyway, sugar, alcohol, and processed foods. So it's kind of interesting. You've got keto, which is just keep the carbohydrates down low. You've got carnivore, just keep the carbohydrates almost non-existent as possible. And then, you've got your animal base that says we know the plants are toxic, but the fruits are less so. So go ahead and enjoy some fruit. And then you've got this living diet that says if the plants are fermented, that's very good for you, that beneficial bacteria. So, and I'm sure there's truth in all that. I honestly believe that. But that's the diet right now they're using up at on the Capitol. So like I said, that's the diet that RFK Jr. Does, and that's the diet that JD Vance is doing now. And the reason I brought this up and why I made this the theme, and when I say theme too, I just mean this is kind of just a little talking point to get the show started tonight. And of course, we can talk about anything, and we usually do. We usually talk about anything but the theme, honestly. But
we do eventually talk about the theme.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's the article. So this is the New York Times article published August 4th. So this is just 6 days ago. And it says, I ate it. The most powerful men in America are eating only steak and sauerkraut. Could I? I ate like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for a week, and the results were fascinating. So the author is Willie Staley. And you can't see this. It's behind a paywall, but I actually have it up through this hack that I'm aware of. And but he talks about how this is what they're doing up at the White House, and he talks about he gives it a try for a week, and he enjoys his results. So, I'll share the link to the article here. Hold on, let me exit this. Let me remove it from the screen. I got to back out of that. That's the link to the hack. Let me find the. Here's the link. So here's the link to the actual article. Okay. So, all right. So there's the link to the article coming through on the chat. So it's very interesting. So yeah, how many names do we need for an appropriate diet? I'd like Dr. Barry just calls it a proper human diet. It's very simple. Just eat real food. Don't eat processed junk. If God or nature made it, it's probably and you can probably eat it. And you can probably do minimal processing to it and still eat it. That's fine. Stay away from the stuff that man has turned it into. Bill's talking about the contrast diet. Do you think it messes with your kidneys? That's a good question.
It does.
It does. So I can't get that same test because I got the late stage kidney disease. I'm afraid of it. Jamet says, yes, I agree. Keto and carnivore, but confusing as I am carnivore. Keto is just less low carbs. So there's different ways to define it too. So keto is, it depends on, so you'll hear it say keto is less than 50 grams of carbs a day. Others will say the keto is less than 20 grams of carbs a day. And those carbs come from usually low carbohydrate cruciferous vegetables. So that would think of it as half your plate is meat, or maybe half your plate is, cruciferous vegetable. And that would be keto. So it's a very, very low carbohydrate diet. So, but it's not plant free. So that would be keto. A proper keto diet, of course. Then there's the big food version of the keto diet, which means buy their keto shakes, keto tortillas, keto protein bars. And that's not really keto. That's the lie. So don't fall for the lie.
Yeah, I think your definitions, everybody wants to come up with these definitions to define what it is they do, but what it is you do is what you do on a regular basis. What's the majority of what you do? I'm carnivore. My main diet is meat, salt, and water, more than 98% of the time. But every once in a while, I'll have a little jalapeno. Every once in a while, I'll eat my meatloaf, my smoked meatloaf, which is not carnivore. It can be made carnivore, but I choose not to. It's keto, so it's more of a keto, but that doesn't mean I eat keto. I just do that once in a while. My main diet is meat, salt, and water. I'm carnivore. We can all put labels on everything, and you got people say, well, you're not carnivore because you ate a jalapeno. No, I'm still carnivore.
I just ate a jalapeno. That's it.
Ate a jalapeno. It's not like I'm eating them every day. I'm not living off of jalapenos. I'm living off of the meat that I eat. Does anybody deny that a cat is carnivore? No. Watch a cat sometimes. They will eat grass. Does that make them non-carnivore? No. They're still considered a carnivore.
Right.
And so does the dog. I have seen my dogs eat grass too.
Yep.
Exactly.
Mine does. Usually when it's not feeling well.
My dog will eat anything just about. Now, she won't eat fruits and she won't eat a vegetable outright, but she'll eat cookies and chips and whatever else junk food you throw her way. She's a garbage gut.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm the same way. So, I am a carnivore. So, and the majority of my food is animal products. And then occasionally, once a week here, maybe once every other week there, I might have a piece of fruit. I might have a little sauerkraut. If I go out to eat, I might have the side dish. So, but does that those are rare circumstances. It's not my lifestyle one bit. So, and how would you define my lifestyle? I eat a carnivore diet. So very simple. All right. Papa Carnivore is at work till 9. And let's see here. Skipping through some of the stuff we already talked about on screen. A Mason's here, says hello to everyone here and in the chat, and hopes everyone is well. And did you hear Bill Knott channel got hijacked again? No, I'm not aware of that. I know his first channel did. I'm not aware of this, so something to look into. Let's see here. Jamet loves Dr. Barry's advice. I agree. Dr. Barry, I think, is the gold standard on diet advice right now. He's the guy that brought me into this sphere and made me who I am today. So I will always channel people to Dr. Barry for sure. All right. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Coach Juliet Edens clarifies. Bill accidentally deleted his video. His channel was not hijacked. All right. He didn't realize when you delete a video from the editing platform, it also deletes it from wherever you saved it. All right. Okay. All right. That's technology. It can be goofy. I learned that. I found out that one time, I take pictures so they're on my phone. so I had pictures and videos on my phone. And then at one time, Google came out with Google Photos that would like back everything up to the cloud. And I'm like, great. Okay. But then my Google Photos storage space started to run out. So I wanted to start deleting things from Google Photos. Well, when you delete things from Google Photos, it also deletes them from your device. It considers it like a mirror image, not just like a offsite storage. So you got to be really, very careful. All right. Yeah, Coach Juliet Edens knows what we're talking about. Did the same thing. All right. Manda, how you doing, Manda? Good to see you. And let's go through here. Jamet, is there anything we could do to lift your spirits? Let us know. We want you to be smiling from ear to ear. Positivity heading your way there, sister. All right. Let's see here. Juliet Edens uses CapCut. How you enjoying CapCut on your phone there, Jeff?
Well, once I kind of got it figured out, it's not too bad. I'm sure I'm not using it to its full potential just because I'm about as ignorant as they come to this technical stuff, but I'm trying. Yeah. I finally figured out how to do some of it. So it's working.
All right. I don't edit on a phone, so I wouldn't
Yeah, I'm
know.
editing on the phone because I don't have any way of transferring it to my laptop.
There's probably a way.
I'm sure there is. I just don't know how.
How I transfer, because I use CapCut on my phone as well as the computer, and if I have where I'm going to do overlays, I will edit my overlay videos on the CapCut on my phone, and then I use Google. What is that? Google Drive is what I do, and I transfer it over, and that's how I get from my phone to the computer, or from my tablet to the computer. And I use the main CapCut. I use CapCut as well, but I use it on the computer to do the final, so that way when it does export, I can do 4K.
Okay.
Yeah, so backing up to Google Drive. I'm just thinking though, if an iPhone, do you know what model iPhone is it? You know, how new is it?
Mine, I believe it's a 16.
Does it use a USB-C charger?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
So your laptop has to have some sort of port, either USB-C or USB 2 or USB-B. There's you can get a cable that goes from phone to laptop, and then you should be able to get on your computer plug the phone in, open up a file explorer, and navigate your phone as if it's an external drive. I would think.
I think just looking at it, I could probably use one of my chargers to do that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's how it would be done. Now I don't have an Apple, so I would have to test it with an Apple, but that's how I do it with my Android device.
Yeah, and see, I'd be doing an Apple phone to whatever they call a laptop. You know, it's not one of the Apple laptops, so I don't know how that works. But right now, you know, it's working well enough for what I want it to do. I doubt if I'm going to get as fancy as some of y'all get. Maybe someday.
Someone look up Willie Staley. Is he a vegan? I don't know why. I'm curious. Willie Staley, vegan? I don't know. Oh, he's the author of that article. Oh, that's the guy that wrote the New York Times article, right? Where's that screen go? Where's that screen? Let me forward it. I can't see that. That's behind the paywall. Got to go back to my hacked one. Willie Staley. Is he a vegan? I don't know. I've read the article. There's nothing that would make me think that. I don't know why. I would not have come to that conclusion prior to that. I doubt he would have been so willing to try this diet if he was. Vegans are usually pretty like, you ain't putting no meat in my mouth. Oh, we're gonna blow that up. Look at this puppers. Hey there, what's your dog's name?
That's Ginger.
Hey, Ginger.
She's my Australian Shepherd cross.
All right. What a beauty. All right, now I'm lost. Hold on here. I'm stuck. There we go. All right. I was trying to figure out how to shrink you back down. All right, very good. And now that I did that, I totally lost my place. Anyway, here's some starred comments here. Just Jerry asks, Kelly, forgot to ask you yesterday, show us the bracelet that Evelyn made for you at the Avon, Indiana meetup.
I'll have to go get it. So here in a little bit, I will go get it. And if Jerry's listening, if she's at work, let me know when you have your next break, and I will definitely show it.
All right. Okay, very good. Keep your eye on the chat then, because I'm usually behind. All right. Bill Cook says regular world thinks fats increase PSA numbers. Regular world thinks fats do all kinds of bad things. That regular world has definitely got fats backwards. They don't understand that there are essential fats, but no essential carbohydrates. Running Tap says they don't care for Omara. That's okay. Not everyone's cup of tea. And I figure if you're very anti-plant, you're probably going to disagree with his view on fermented foods. So, I mean, that's kind of what I expect. DS111 says, I named my diet the wolf diet. Beef sausage, bacon, ground beef, brisket, butter, water, mineral water, and coffee. Because wolves love their coffee. All right, very nice. Very good. All right. What else we got going on here in the chat? YouTube is raising watch hours to 8K in February to get monetized and maintain 8K over 12 months rolling period. I think I have 77 watch hours. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I don't even know what I do. So, all right. Sebastian, how do I become a boomer? I'm missing some context there, I think, maybe. All right. Bill, about chosen mayo. That has the wrong oils, not avocado oils. Chosen mayo? I believe that's what I'm buying. It's avocado oil mayo.
Yeah, but he's saying they're saying that it apparently failed the test for avocado oil.
Oh, that's interesting. That's too bad. That's too bad. I've bought Chosen was down at, I think, one of the wholesale clubs. I've also gotten Primal Kitchen. That was decent. That stuff it went bad on me fast though after opening, which I might even tell me that it was actually good stuff. And then I've also got Sir Kensington's. So those are the 3 avocado oil mayonnaises that I've bought that I thought were all on the up and up, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, Keto Simple. He said chosen mayo says on the label 100%, failed the test for being 100% avocado. But he also goes on to say that he imagines with all the backlash, it just might get fixed. But you know, he makes a good point. You know, a lot of these companies will say they've got something and it's not 100%. Like, what was it? Somebody was, I mentioned one time several months ago that I'd heard Buffalo Wild Wings was frying their wings in tallow now. Well, it turned out, yeah, they were doing it in a tallow blend. There were still seed oils in it. And then you've got, you know, olive oil. You can't even trust olive oil these days because a lot of times, especially if it just says olive oil and not Evo, a lot of times it can be cut with uh, canola oil. And there's been companies that have been, fined heavily for doing it, but they still continue doing it. So it's unless you make it yourself, it's hard to trust anything out there that you buy. All you can do is go by the labels and hope for the best, I guess.
All right. I was reading some comments here. All right, I'll stop there. Start there. Bring some of these ones up. DS111, if it comes in a box and turns into food, my mom can't eat it. I like that, actually. Carnivore Lori's daughter said to neighbors when she was a little girl, Lori had autoimmune problems. Yeah. If it comes in a box and turns into food, I like that. Because if it comes in a box, it's probably not food. So I do like that. Very nice. All right. Jamet says keto isn't carnivore in my opinion. And this is where we come down to the problem of labels. Okay. So can your keto diet be meat based? Yes. Is a keto diet a carnivore diet? I mean, well, if a carnivore diet is you eat nothing but animal products, then no. Okay. So I won't talk about, there's the carnivore diet and a carnivore diet, so, this is the problem of trying to fit yourself under one of these labels. This is the problem I have with the carnivore purists, the carnivore cops, the guys that they think there's something special for going 1,200 days without eating a plant, and they are. Okay, don't get me right. That's an achievement. That's a milestone. It's definitely worth something bragging about, but does it make you better than the person doing a keto diet who will eat steak most of the time and then have an occasional veggie? No, it does not. So you're not like more elitist for that. So Jason says meat and fermented veggies to me is keto. On the regular, absolutely, so I would agree.
Yeah,
so,
and I'll indulge in some fermented stuff once in a great while. I mean, we went to the store the other day and I picked up some kimchi. I haven't had kimchi in several months, and I feel like having some kimchi. And I won't eat it every night. I won't eat it, on a regular basis. Just once in a while, I like a little kimchi. And the only reason I eat it, besides the fact that I like the taste, is it's more of a medicine for me, because fermented foods are supposed to help the gut microbiome. And if that's true, that I'm taking it because I believe that may be true. And that's the only reason. If it didn't help the microbiome, then I wouldn't mess with it. I don't like it that much. I'm more along the lines of the type that if it doesn't provide a nutrient purpose for me, I generally won't eat it, except jalapenos. I'm giving jalapenos a break on that, just because I love jalapenos. That's my one vice. But even then, I restrict those, to just once or twice a month. But yeah, I believe in eating what our body needs, not a bunch of excess stuff. And so I'm not going to go eating sauerkraut and kimchi every day on a regular basis, because somebody else is. What we have to do, we all have to eat for ourselves. You're not eating for anybody else. I don't care what anybody else eats. I don't care how they eat it. I appreciate that the word's getting out that there's more and more people eating more carnivore type diets and foods. That's great. That helps our community. But I don't really care, how it doesn't affect me in the least. I'm going to eat what affects me the best. If I could get away with eating Bluebell ice cream every day and it wouldn't affect me any, I'd eat it. But I can't get away with it. It's going to bother me. So I don't touch it.
All right, we got some good comments going on here. Juliet Eden's adds, but lots of carnivores say 70% of what you eat is animal products. Okay, that isn't keto. I hate the term carnivore. Just call it a ketogenic diet. So yeah,
I
carnivore
think that's an
diet is
excellent point.
carnivore diet is just a ketogenic diet, to the nth degree. So it's a subset of it. So keto diets have been around for a while. Keto diets work. Keto diets are good. Keto people are my friends. You know, and a lot of us started on a keto diet and we're successful at it. And carnivore diet, some of us have done a lot better on a carnivore diet for one reason or another. And but yeah, the definition of a hypercarnivore is an animal who gets 70% of their nutrition or caloric needs from animals, at least 30% for other stuff. So yeah, 70% of your diet, you're a carnivore. So we're all carnivores here.
And carnivore is a ketogenic diet.
Right.
It is a spectrum of keto. And this, eating sauerkraut with your meat, that's just going to be another part of the spectrum is all. And if you want to name that spectrum, so be it. But it's still a ketogenic diet.
Yeah. So on this channel, I will talk about, carnivore plus low carb veg is also called ketovore. Carnivore plus fruit is called animal based, and that's why I often will say carnivore centric or meat based. We believe in a carnivore centric or meat based diet here. We believe in the power of a meat based nutrition. If you are adding fruits or fermented vegetables to your otherwise carnivore diet, cool, enjoy yourself. So, all right. If those things are giving you problems, then stop it. It's really that simple. Jamette says, Bob and Jeff, thank you. As these days so confusing, seems influencers saying carnivore is BBBE, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, but okay to throw in a fruit or vegetable. And in my opinion, it's okay to throw a fruit or a vegetable once in a while if that's what you want to do. Yeah. If you're on a carnivore diet for 30 days and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm craving an apple, what should I do? Eat an apple. And don't eat a bag of apples. Don't eat apples every day, but eat an apple. Oh, well, what about the toxins? Fructose. Fructose is a toxin. Okay, that's true. Okay, but the body has the ability to mitigate a certain amount of toxin and be fine. And then so when you exceed that amount is when you have problems. So yeah, eat a piece of fruit, get a little bit of fructose. It's not going to hurt you. Now you down bottles of cola and candy that's full of high fructose corn syrup, and you do that for days and days and days and days. Yes, that's going to lead to disease and metabolic disorder and whatnot. You're gonna have fatty liver. You're gonna consume beyond the body's ability to mitigate that. So then you don't do it. So
yeah. Well, when my blackberries was growing on my back fence, I'd eat a few every day. They didn't seem to bother me at all. It's more ancestral that I eat that way, because our ancestors wouldn't have passed them up, back in the day, and they didn't seem to bother me none. The only thing I noticed is they did give me, and they weren't super sweet, but they did give me a craving for sugar. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad, but there was a little bit there. It was just something I had to have a little discipline about.
And then the same goes for your other toxins too. Like, that fermented food, that food might have a little oxalate in it. Okay. So a little oxalate, your body can handle that. But lots of oxalates day after day after day after day after day. Like, if you're on the spinach smoothie diet, snacking on almonds, spinach salad at lunch, spinach and chicken at dinner, then next thing you know, you got kidney stones because you have too many oxalates, and you got oxalate calcium stones are forming in your kidneys. you got joint pain because oxalates are forming on your joints, and that's a problem. But if you never eat this stuff, and then you eat a meat-based diet for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a roast, and you decide to have a little sauerkraut with that roast, and it might have a little oxalate in it, it ain't gonna hurt you. You're not having so much that you're overloading your body's ability to deal with it. The body's remarkable. It heals itself. It can tolerate. There's tolerances of these things. So we don't want to get like crazy, dogmatic about these things. We do want to be strict with ourselves. We do want to be firm, and we do want to be committed. Because that's how we're gonna meet our weight loss goals. That's how we're going to stay thin. That's how we're going to stay healthy. And that's how we're going to reverse our metabolic diseases and keep them gone and off those prescription medications. So there's some discipline in there too. But, at the same time, you don't have to be afraid of a plant or something like that once in a while.
Know your body, know your limits. Now, in my case, these are growing. I got grapes and blackberries that grow on my place, and I'll pop a few in my mouth once in a while. I'm not going to go to the store and buy them. I don't want anything from the store. But if it grows on my property, then I have no problem eating it. Just like the animals that grow on my property, I have no problem eating them.
All right. We have Standing Foot says Dr. Barry's video was very interesting today. I did not watch his video today. I don't know what he released today, but I tell you what I did listen to today, and I'm a few days behind, was he was on Dr. Kiltz's channel the other day. So I listened to Dr. Kiltz's interview with Dr. Barry, and that was excellent. So I had my pods in while I was tiling, and I was listening. I'm trying to catch up on some YouTube videos, and I love listening to Dr. Barry, and that was one of my favorite interviews of him. He gets into how he became a keto doctor, going from, back when he was a fat doctor at almost 300 pounds and realized that he had to do something, and the stuff that he was prescribing his patients wouldn't work. And that kind of started him down this path. So it was if you haven't seen that, if you haven't heard his backstory, that's a good place to go see it. Would be on Dr. Kiltz's video. So I like what Dustin says here. I'm on the Dustin diet because no matter what I eat, I'm Dustin. And I like that. I've heard a lot of people say that on their channels. Lily Kane said she was on the Lily diet, and I probably should say I'm on the Bob diet, So I agree with that there. You're already in the partner program. You should not have to worry about the change. This with the YouTube watch hours thing. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. I don't. You know what? I don't make any money on this anyway. This costs me money because I pay for StreamYard. SEG, yes. So I've always heard keto is eat as many vegetables as you want as long as you keep your carbs low. No, I mean I've heard that too, but I would say that's not keto. That wasn't Dr. Atkins keto. That wasn't the keto of the 90s and the 2000s. There are people out there that say that you can eat a plant-based keto. And I suppose it's possible, but I just disagree that that's a ketogenic diet. So technically, yes, if you can keep your carbs low and be in ketosis the majority of the time, then yes, it's a ketogenic diet. Just like Dustin says here, carnivore by definition is 70% animal-based. And keto gets a bad rap mainly for the keto branded products. That's not a keto problem. That's a marketing problem. So yeah, the keto branded products are not keto either. Stay away from them. So most of them. So I think when people did the keto diet and it worked, it's because those products weren't on the market yet. And if you wanted to make anything that resembled what you used to eat on the standard American diet, you had to get out all the raw ingredients, look at the recipe section in the back of Atkins' book, try and make this thing yourself. And as soon as big food started making them convenience products, and then, oh, look, I can do keto. I can have a shake. I can have a keto shake instead of taking the time to make eggs and sausage. I can just have a keto shake or keto bread. Instead of making my own oopsie rolls, I can go buy a loaf of keto bread. When you look at the ingredients of that keto bread, it's not keto. And then you stop losing weight. And it was like, man, why'd keto stop working for me? Keto used to work so well. I used to be able to lose all kinds of weight on keto, but now keto don't work anymore. Keto sucks. I must be getting old. And you don't really connect the dots that it's the big food that's in the fake keto products that are actually doing you harm. And we've all three of us on the screen, we've all been victims of that, by the way.
Yes. Like I said on a live stream, I think it was my 2-year Carnivore live stream. Keto didn't fail me. I failed keto because I slipped, and then I also discovered all those keto treats and keto breads and stuff, and I fell for it.
Yeah, we did that with Atkins.
Yep. Yeah, and I am convinced that Robert Atkins was a pioneer, a great guy, and he was on the ball. He knew what he was talking about, and I think if Atkins was alive today, he'd be supporting a proper human diet. He'd be supporting a carnivore diet, and I think that he'd be rolling in his grave if he knew what they did with his name after he died, because some random food company bought the rights to his name, started making all these products with his name on it. And I think he'd be so upset if he knew what had happened. So don't confuse Atkins, the man, Atkins, the book, anything prior to 2000 or prior to his death with anything you see in the freezer section at the grocery store.
Or go to the health food section at the Walmart health and beauty side. Stay away from that aisle because that is nothing but pure garbage.
You're right.
All right. Let's see here. Cranky Carnivore Cutler. Frankenfoods come in boxes and bags in the front and middle of the grocery store. Yep. Yes, you fare well if you buy along the outside. So, vegetable, dairy, meats, fruits, and stay away from anything in the center. You brought to a good start. So, all right. Kimchi has a host of probiotics to help the gut microbiome. Good stuff, says Tamara Ware. I've never had kimchi. I really don't know what it is. I've heard of it.
If you like spicy food, it's good stuff.
I
got started on it when I was working in Korea.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen it. I've never tasted it. So I'm curious about it. What is it? So what is it? Like, is it like we know sauerkraut? Sauerkraut is cabbage. So
it's also cabbage.
Okay.
But it's fermented cabbage like sauerkraut, except it has spices in it.
Okay.
So it's got, it can have a little bit of heat to it. The kimchi I get here in the jar, it's good, but it's not quite like what you get in Korea. In Korea, it's got a certain, especially the homemade stuff, it's got a bit of a stink to it. And for some people, they can't get past the smell, but you get past the smell and the taste is great. But the stuff we get here in the States, it doesn't have that smell. But the stuff in Korea, the homemade stuff, I mean, they put it in a jar and they bury it in the ground and ferment it in the ground for I don't know how long, but for quite a while. And it can come out pretty rank. But it's still good stuff.
All righty. Let's see here. Keto, by definition, is a diet that allows a person to be in nutritional ketosis. This is Dustin here, Keto Simple. Carnivore will allow the body to be in nutritional ketosis, so you do the math. Yes, very good. And SEG says, my cousin does keto guidelines and eats a lot of vegetables every day, and she gets most of her fat from oils and avocados. So it does seem there is a distinction or a sliding scale to ID the diet. Yeah, so if she can be in ketosis, then technically it's keto, plant-based keto. I just because of my carnivore influence now, I'm not sold on it. So again, I believe in the power of meat-based nutrition, carnivore-centric diets. And I've got vegan friends, and they fare well. And I know people that do plant-based keto and they fare well, so, I'm not gonna diss it, but everything that I've studied now, the amount of research I've done into the benefits of the way I'm eating now, it trumps the plant-based keto I was doing, because I was doing that before. Before I was, wake up and either skip breakfast, or I might have had some eggs, but like I drove around with almonds in my car to snack on. I'd stop at Subway, and I didn't want lettuce. I wanted spinach, because for some reason spinach was better, and how wrong I was. And I have my spinach salad, and then at dinner I'd have usually something spinach salad based with some chicken on it or something. So I did very, very heavy plant-based. Sometimes I would even do the tofu and stuff like that, and which had to be seasoned because by itself it's disgusting. And I was doing plant-based keto, and I'd lose a little weight, but I didn't feel great, and it was very difficult to lose that weight. So as soon as I switched up my game, and I changed it to a fatty ribeye and a side of asparagus, or a fatty ribeye and broccoli, or a fatty ribeye and Brussels sprouts, or some other low carb cruciferous vegetable, then I started feeling great, and then the weight started really flying off. And then when I went full carnivore and eliminated plants altogether for a year, by the way, I was plant free for over a year. Now I'm plant free most of the time, but I was plant free for over a year straight, and man, I felt like $1 million. It was I was sold, and I got into. I'm the kind of guy that's just like, I don't just feel. I feel great, so I'm sold. But I mean, like, I was like, I want to know why I feel great. So I dug into the research, and started looking up things on PubMed and checking out books and reading and everything like that, and I could never ever entertain even the thought of going vegan again, knowing what I know now. So,
well, my biggest thing I love about this diet is just the simplicity of it. One of the reasons, I've got several reasons, probably about three main reasons why I fell off of Atkins. But one of them was I got tired of counting. Every single thing went in my mouth, I had to put it on the calculator, on the app, and I got tired of it. And keto's the same way. You got to track. That's what I love about eating like this. I don't have to track nothing. Only I got to track is if I'm in it for weight loss is what happens on the scale. And that's the simplicity of this. That's what I love about it. And when I found out that vegetables serve no purpose, then that just made it even better. I don't have to eat vegetables either. So I don't eat them. Don't eat them. Don't want them.
all right. Mason says, I prefer a clean keto, and people's opinions don't sway me. I shouldn't sway them either, to each their own. So, yep, very good. Clean keto is just fine. So, and again, for me, Dr. Berry and the way he sums it up, I think is the gold standard. So when he talks about a proper human diet, and a human is a low carbohydrate mammal, and the proper human diet is a spectrum. You got zero carb carnivore on one end, and maybe up to 100-ish grams of single ingredient whole foods carbohydrates in the other. And where you fit on that spectrum will depend on your personal physiology. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. So wherever you are on that sliding scale, and anywhere on that scale is a meat-based diet. So there's still all of that's carnivore centric. It's just, what are you adding to it? Then you're welcome here. So, because I can completely encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. So there may be reasons why you would want to eliminate all plants, certain plants, and more, for health reasons. But all that's individualistic. That really depends on you and only you, and doesn't really apply to everyone else. So Jabet says, I agree. It's so confusing. Keto, carnivore, and cardo influencers say only beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, but I won't give up my egg life wraps. I believe we know our own bodies. Well, the egg life wraps fall under the E for eggs.
Yep.
They're fine.
Had three shredded beef chuck roast tacos for my meal today.
And I tell you what, Jeff, is so the first time I ever really kind of warmed, like I've warmed up my egg life wraps, but I never threw one on a skillet and browned it. And I did that for my taco video that I put on my channel.
I saw that.
So I did that. I figured, well, I want to demonstrate this, since you endorsed it so much. So I went ahead and included that in there. And I'll tell you what, man,
it's a game changer, ain't it?
It's a game changer. So yesterday, we got out we opened up the Blackstone, fired it up. We made some burgers, and burgers, cheese, and my wife, she bought some hamburger buns, and so she toasts her bun. And I was just going to stack mine together and cut it with a fork and eat it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn mine into a wrap of some kind, So I took out 3 of those Egg Life tortillas, and I threw those down on the grill in the beef fat. And, they want to start to bubble and whatnot, and I flip them over, and I just kept flipping them, and they got brown and they got a little dry. And then, so I took my burger patties, and after the cheese melted on them, I cut them into strips so I could fit them on there longwise, and I ate them like that. But it almost had like a cracker-like consistency to it.
Yeah,
oh,
I've done that.
It was nice. And it's just egg white.
Now I'm gonna have to stop at Aldi. At least there's an Aldi on the end of this town. I'm going, tomorrow, where the Columbia Orthopedic Group's located next to Sam's and Walmart. Now I'm gonna have to go into Aldi and get me some more of those egg life wraps to try this.
Yeah, I'll buy like 4 or 5 packages at a time, and I'll freeze all but one. And I forgot I had any in there, and for about it turns out I had 2 packages in there. I forgot all about them. And so, man, I need to eat those up. And I got them out. And, I melted some butter, slopped it on there, threw it in my cast iron. And while I was preparing everything, and I noticed that they had gotten crispy, like what you're talking about, Bob. It was almost like a cracker consistency to them. And it was almost like eating a hard shell taco, rather than a soft taco, but only in certain spots. It wasn't the whole thing. It was more right in the middle of it. But that was the first time I'd experienced that. And I don't know if it was because they were previously frozen or what, or I just had them in the skillet, too long. But they were good. I enjoyed them. But yeah, heating them things up, browning them in the skillet, that's a game changer.
Yeah, Friday we decided to go to Chili's, and I'm like, I want some of those fajitas. That's closest, carnivore I can get there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a little bit of seed oil. It cooked in seed oil, I'm sure, but didn't bother me. But my daughter went into Aldi and got me a package of those egg life wraps.
Oh, that is so sweet.
She went in there for me, and I'm like, Can you go in there and get them for me? And that's what I brought. I brought it right into Chili's, that Hague Life
bet.
wrap.
You bet. Yeah, we got a Mexican food place up in Stephenville, about 18 miles from here. We like to go to Azteca. His name. My son-in-law loves it because they got really good menudo. And what I like is I can order just fajitas a la carte, and it actually says that on the menu, fajitas a la carte, and I can pretty much order them by the pound. So that works out well.
Carnivore Wayne here, as I'm looking for comments to star. He said, I got hooked on wraps for a while, Mission Zero carb ones. Yeah, those are the fakey fakies. So
very fake.
Yeah, but try if you like wraps, the Egg Life ones are probably the best substitute out there. But I did that too. Like, and I thought I was doing keto, I was buying those Mission Zero carb, and then I'd have my zero sugar peanut butter and my sugar-free jelly, and I'd make peanut butter jellies out of them, thinking I'm doing a keto diet. That'd be my breakfast sometimes.
After I realized all that stuff, I'm like, nope, I'm not. I started going back making the keto flour tortillas that I usually make, like at mozzarella, almond flour, and xanthan gum when I was keto. And I know someone says, yeah, there is this keto. I'm like, that's not keto. Oh, yeah, it is. It says keto. That's not keto. Read the ingredients and define what keto is, because that's just a marketing thing. I fell for it. That's why I gained half of my weight back.
All right, let's start here. Come back. So we did that one. Bob and Jeff, I'm interested in your opinion of the Dr. Boz theory right now. I'm doing it for the month of August, and the math ain't mathin'. In my opinion,
know anything about it.
Other people are successful. Yeah, I don't know what the Dr. Boz theory is. I think she's all right. I've watched her content here and there in the past. She's a ketogenic, doctor, and she's a little eccentric, but and she's also the one that came up with the sardine fast, isn't she? Like, hey, just eat sardines for several days. So, like, sounds completely boring to me, but some people have done it and they like it. And Annette Bosworth, right? Yeah, Dr. Boz. So yeah, I don't know what that theory is. We'd have to get some more info. Brian Dish. I would say keto is more the normal human diet, but due to all the things the big companies and medical system has pushed, most need to go carnivore to reverse the damage. Oh, that's a very fair assessment. So yeah, I would say too. Yeah, keto is more of a proper human diet, and or it's a spectrum. So, and Dustin's got a good comment coming up, so I'll hold some of what I'm about to say here. We'll talk about it in a minute, but yeah, I would agree, and that was the case in my case, because I went keto first, and it was great. I was losing weight, but when I went carnivore, that's when like periodontitis went away, the ulcerative colitis went away, and a lot of much smaller things went away, and they haven't come back. So definitely carnivore reversed the damage. So I agree. I think everyone who wants to, go down this rabbit hole, get into this space. I'm not into jumping straight into carnivore, because the sudden change in your diet can wreak havoc on your body, and you'll have, the keto flu, you'll have the runs, you'll have the constipation, I think it's better if someone transitions into it. So you go clean keto first, and then slide your scale to carnivore, and then once you've reached carnivore, I believe stick it out for 90 days. Everyone stick it out for 90 days, and see how you feel. And then start adding things back as you wish or as you determine. So go ahead.
Like
Jeff.
Dr. Barry says, I believe everybody could benefit from a ketogenic diet. I believe it is a proper human diet, a species-specific diet. Uh, but to what degree you do depends on you, what you need, what your body needs. You know, for some of us, the stricter we are, the better we are, the more we've healed. You know, for somebody that doesn't need a bunch of healing, probably don't need to be near as strict as we do.
DS111, the last apple I ate was last year, and it was off a tree in the yard of a house I was working in. All right. I had my apple trees. I think my apple trees are going to be dead in a few years. Like everything in my yard's dying. But I did have a few apples off my tree this year. Very few. The deer would come. I'd usually pick them off and throw them to the deer. I got deer that they're 6 to 8 inches from eating out of my hand. I got this one that will get so close. It will not eat out of my hand. It will not let me touch it. But it'll come right up to me and have me pick an apple, but I have to drop it on the ground, and then it has to reach down and pick it up. I'm like, come on, you're so close. But if I try to touch it, it freaks out. But it's like right next to me, just like begging me to pet it. So yeah, I had apples this summer. It was just a little here, a little there. Keto Simple. Humans for centuries were opportunistic, nomadic, chasing herds of cattle or deer or whatever. If you came across fruit or edible plants, you'd go to town. Multiple days of no eating. Absolutely.
That's where the fruit was a seasonal thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't know if this holds any water, but look at bears. Bears are going to go into hibernation for the winter, and what do? They fatten up on fruits. You know, they hit the berry bushes hard. They fatten up on salmon. You know, and so I kind of see where, you know, what they ate fatten them up. Well, if we eat that stuff, it'll fatten us up too if we ain't careful. Of course, they're doing it to get through hibernation, but we don't have that necessity. We don't have to do that, you know. But, you know, our ancestors, they lived a hard life. I mean, you just go back. You can go back each generation from your life now. Go back each generation, and honestly look at them. You'll see each generation had it harder than the next, and it just kept progressing like that. We've just made ourselves easier and easier. But you go back, like I had a friend of mine say one time, or a guy at work. He wasn't a friend of mine. A guy at work. He kind of had this little fantasy world of his, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "I was born too late. I should have been born back in the 1800s." And I said, "You wouldn't have made it in the 1800s because the first time you walked through that door, you'd reach for that light switch and it wouldn't be there. You'd curl up in a ball and cry. You know, you don't know what hard is. Go back to the 1800s and try to live, and most of us couldn't handle it because you didn't have air conditioning, you didn't have heaters, you didn't have light switches. You had to do everything for yourself. You didn't have washing machines. You had to wash your own clothes. You generally only bathed once a week. You know, I'm sorry, most people couldn't handle that. People that have grown up in today's modern society, they couldn't handle how our ancestors used to work and live on a daily basis. My gosh, you couldn't handle the stink from your neighbor when you talked to them. You know, but our ancestors, they ate fruits and vegetables. They just didn't eat them on a large scale. They ate them when they found them. And that was the key word, when they found them. They didn't cultivate them. Now, there eventually came an agricultural society, and we see the results of what happened because of that. But the opportunistic, nomadic herd, chasing herds of cattle or deer or whatever, nah, that was, they simply ate what they could find. So they were carnivore.
All right. We have a more recent question here. We'll get this up right away. Faith, Fuel, and Footsteps. That's Ray says, "Hey guys, I didn't get my steaks out of the freezer early, so I'm cooking them partly frozen on the cast iron skillet. I'm using Malden salt for the first time. Do I sprinkle heavy or lightly?
To your taste.
Yeah, salt to taste. You know what? So when I make a steak, I I never cook from frozen, so I'm sure that'll be fine though. But
Well, you did that once and didn't like it, didn't you?
well, I saw a video. I swear it was Michaela Peterson said that you could take a New York strip from the freezer, put it in an air fry it at 400 degrees for like 8 minutes, and it would be a perfect medium. And I did that, and it was one of the worst steaks I ever tasted in my life. It was terrible. So I never stuck another steak in the air fryer.
It depends on the size of the thickness of the steak. I know I have done it with the strip steaks that I made, the New York strips. They're thick. I cooked them. I cooked mine 12 minutes on each side, and it came out. They came out pretty good, and it came out with the good rare in the middle. But I also try to cook them where they're a thinner steak, and it came out terrible.
Yeah, I did it as an experiment with one of my steaks, and they weren't thin by any stretch. They're about an inch and a quarter thick. That's how I have them cut. But yeah, I did it from frozen, and it came out okay. Uh, Air fryer steaks, in my opinion, aren't the best way to eat steaks. It's just an easy way to eat steaks. And I don't dislike them. I'll eat them, and I'll cook them that way because I want an easy way to cook them sometimes. If I want the best way to cook them, I'm putting them out on my smoker. To me, that's the best way.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I like to do on my Weber. I like to do the slow method, indirect grilling. Have coals, but not agave coals, and just put it on the cold side.
Get them up to 120 degrees and pull them.
Yep, that's what I do. Is get them. I'll get them for about 100 degrees, and then I have hot welder's gloves. I'll turn that grill, and I'll do some sear. When it's done, 120 degrees. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I love my air fryer. Absolutely love it. It's one of the best things I ever bought for my kitchen. But it is a tool, a quick cooking tool for me. No fuss, no muss, no very little cleanup. It's just something quick for me. But I don't use it every day.
So when I make a steak, I use my pink salt, which comes with a grinder. So I grind the pink salt on it before I put it on the skillet. I salt it. I kind of pound the salt into the steak, cook it on the skillet, and then when I cut it into slices to eat it, after I cut it into slice where I can see that it's a nice medium or medium rare, then I take my Maldens and I sprinkle on it, and then I eat it with the Maldens that way. So the Maldens for me is I don't use it to cook with. I use it after I'm done cooking. So
Maldens is my favorite eating salt.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I put on my food after it's cooked. If I'm cooking something and I want to salt it, I'll salt it ahead of time, like meat. I like to salt it ahead of time, let it rest with that salt on it, and cook it. But and for that, oh gosh, I'll use anything depending on what I'm cooking. I might use what do they call it? Kosher salt. I use a lot of kosher salt for my dry brine. Sometimes I'll use can't think of the name of it. Anyways, it's got something in it, some flavoring in it. But I use different salts. I don't like using Redmonds anymore. Too much grit in it. I'll use it in my water. The grit settles to the bottom, and I can dump out the grit. I don't have to drink it. But for eating, I got tired of crunching on sand. I don't like it.
I don't use Redmonds much anymore. Now I use it if I'm going to do a dry brine. Now I'll use the Redmonds or the Himalayan pink salt and do a dry brine. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about, because I did a dry brine and I let it dry, air dry in the fridge for 4 days. Now I'm going to try 8 days and see how it goes.
It'll go well. Long dry brining is great if you've got the refrigeration space and can take the time. I've even done dry aging before. Dry aging is pretty cool. It works well, but you got to have the space in your refrigerator because
I got a shop fridge up there that'll work perfect. That just has water in it.
yeah, there you go. I got a fridge in my shop here too. Yeah, so that works out well.
Desiree has a follow-up question. Speaking of Redmond's, I enjoy the relight and drink it all day long. I think I'm drinking too much. Is that a thing? My stool is, well, So relight, that's an electrolyte drink. And I believe, yes, you can overdo it.
Absolutely. Do not drink it all day long.
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't even drink it every day myself.
Right.
I don't drink it every day, but like today, since I was, going in and out of the shop and it was hot and muggy, I did one. That's it. And I was good to go.
Yeah, here's the deal. If you're eating properly, you're supposed to be getting most everything you need from your meat. So they say. But the problem is we all have different needs in our bodies. In my case, and I'll just use me as an example, I was using Element every single day. Why? Because everybody in the community was doing it. So I was following them like a sheep. Well, so I go in for a blood test, and my doctor comes out very alarmed and says, "Are you taking a supplement?" And I said, "Yeah, I take an electrolyte supplement every day." He says, "Stop it now." The deal was my sodium levels were low. I needed to take sodium as a supplement. All my blood tests show they're low. My magnesium was just fine, but my potassium was into the danger zone. And I have a heart condition. Even though I've reversed what I say I've reversed it, it's still there. I can trip it if I go to eating junk. I could sure enough cause it to come right back. So I'm just saying that I've reversed it or I'm holding it at bay or whatever. But because I have a heart condition, I don't need high potassium levels. I've got to be very careful of that. And that blood test showed that I was getting into the danger zone, and potassium will stop your heart. That's what they use for executions when they give medical executions. They use potassium. It will stop your heart. So drink it all day long? No, I would not do that. I'd go get a blood test. I'd find out what your body is doing with it. Now, if it shows it's not causing you any problems, that's great. But I don't see the need to take it all day long.
I don't even take it in the wintertime. I quit doing it in the winter because I don't need it.
When I'm outside and I'm working all day in the heat, I'll take maybe half a packet of an electrolyte, and that bothers me because of the potassium. I don't need it. My potassium levels are just fine without any electrolytes. My only thing is salt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit using electrolytes, the pre-made packet stuff, and I'm just going to get some sodium chloride in a pill form or a capsule form and start taking that, because that's the only thing I'm low on. That's what my blood test shows. Get your blood test, find out what your needs are. If you're not cramping up, the only reason I take electrolytes to begin with is for cramps, because we get out here in the Texas heat. Like I said, I've been using a cutting torch and welding all weekend long on equipment, out in 103-degree heat. So I need something to replace my electrolytes because I'm sweating them out pretty bad, so I have to use a little something. But if you're not doing what I'm doing, you might want to check and see what your body needs are with a blood test. You could harm yourself. I'm just telling you.
And when you take a blood test, of course, I recommend that you stop all supplements 2 days prior to drawing your blood. So, regardless of what it is, because you want to get a clean reading. But no, I agree. I have kidney disease, so you know, my my ability to regulate electrolytes is impaired, and yeah, I have to be very careful as well. So I don't take any electrolytes usually. Now, if there's days where I might feel crampy, like I can tell, like okay, I have a feeling that if I don't do something tonight, I'll have cramps.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I can kind of tell earlier in the day if that's going to be me. So so what I do is I drink an electrolyte mix packet, and it's some brand we got off of Amazon. I don't even know what the brand is, but it's like an element, and I might have that once a week or maybe twice a week. And that's it. So and if I'm not feeling like I'm at risk for having any kind of muscle cramps, then I don't take it at all. Now you did mention stool. That also might be connected with magnesium. If you feel like you have to take magnesium for stool, you can take magnesium alone. But the big risks here, you can overdo it on magnesium. It's really really hard. You can
Well, yeah.
overdo it on potassium.
Well, there's so many different magnesiums.
Yeah.
You got some that your body will absorb and use. You got others your body will not absorb, and they'll pass right through you. And with those, they're great if you're constipated. But if you ain't constipated, you're not going to like the results. And that'll be magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate. Your body won't absorb them. It'll pass right through. But magnesium glycinate, your body will absorb and use. So it all depends on what the magnesium is that they're using.
Yeah, because magnesium citrate's what they give you when you have to clean your system out for a colon screening.
Yep. So, yeah. And I have been in the past, I've been prone to constipation. So I use magnesium oxide for that.
So we don't really know what you mean when you say you drink it all day long. How many servings that is. I know that comes in a container where you scoop it out. They also sell them in the packets, so like, if you're making multiple servings a day, I would highly advise against that. That could be very problematic. I mean, that's, the way you phrase that makes me think of someone making Crystal Light or Kool-Aid. They can just keep making it and drinking it and drinking it and drinking it all day long, like a staple drink, almost like a soda addiction, and that could be very problematic with an electrolyte.
And that's another thing. Are you drinking the flavored stuff? Flavored stuff, you're hanging on to a sugar addiction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're drinking it because it's sweet. You're not drinking it because your body needs it. You're wanting a substitute for the sodas you used to drink or whatever. So think about that too. You may just be feeling an addiction. I've tasted them, and they make me want to just suck them down like a Coke.
Yeah, the sweet flavored ones. The ones I'm using now are unflavored.
That's what
but I don't mind the flavored ones. I do enjoy them, but I'm still only going to have one, maybe a week. Yeah. So.
Like most of the time anymore, the best thing to do, especially in the hot, maybe have one of those supplements once in a while or once a week, or depends on where you're at. If you're out all day, maybe once a day. But like for me, I had one today, but I'm not going to have one tomorrow. I'm not going to have one Wednesday. I may not even have one Thursday. But what I do is like what Jeff, salt your water.
Yeah, if you have good, healthy kidneys and you work hard and sweat a lot, you're active and hot outside, stuff that like Jeff does all day long, could you tolerate one a day? Probably, but I wouldn't do more than that.
A lot of people do, but like I said, what does your body need? Does it even need it to begin with? Get a blood test and find out.
Probably not.
Don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. I did that, and it was almost a very costly mistake for me.
Yeah, and people
I
with
was
healthy
doing
kidneys, they generally excrete, like their bodies, the kidneys should excrete what they don't need. But just like I was talking about, there's, the body can tolerate things up to a limit. You exceed that limit, you have problems. That's true. That's true for electrolytes too. Just like it is for fructose or oxalate or something like that. You don't want, you bombard the body with it, and it can't keep up excreting as fast as this. You're pouring it down your throat, and then you end up with too high levels in your blood, and high electrolyte levels, and especially certain electrolytes can be fatal. So, go ahead, Kelly.
I remember when I started on early days of keto and I found about the element and stuff like that. I know that was before the controversy of the maltodextrin and stuff in it. And I remember I was doing 3 or 4 a day, and I think someone commented, I can't remember, say, hey, might want to watch that. So I was like, I wonder what they're talking about. So I researched it, and yeah, you can get way too much potassium. Even someone normal can get way too much potassium. And yes, it, like Jeff said, that it will stop your heart. That's what they use for this lethal injection. And I'm like, my eyes got big. I'm like, okay. So I cut down to just what I need.
Yeah. Yeah, I use it as medicine only. Just only when I need it. Like I said, I'm gonna quit using it. I'm gonna just order me some sodium chloride in pill form, because all my blood tests always show I'm low on sodium. I think since I became a carnivore, and that never showed up until I was a carnivore. And I'm just flushing sodium out of my body. I salt my water. That's not enough. Even when I was taking those electrolyte supplements, element, that wasn't enough. I will not retain sodium in my body, and that's why I'll cramp so easily when I'm working outside all day.
DS111, I tend to refuse fruits offered to me because it tastes so sweet and I don't want to start craving again. That could be a very valid reason to avoid fruit. If you're one of those people that you have a piece of fruit and then the cravings come on like a monster, you know, that's and it's almost unbearable, then why would you subject yourself to that? Makes perfect sense to me. So fortunately I can have an apple and I'm going to be fine. And once in a while I don't have that problem. I did my first year carnivore though. There was a couple times where I deviated and I was like, it was shaking and jonesing and it was crazy. And thankfully that's gone. But yeah, no, I get that completely. So, and there's another good comment coming up here. Let's see if I can find it. It fits with this so well. I thought for sure I highlighted it. I don't see it. I think it was Carnivore Cutler talked about certain people they can't be moderators. So some people are literally have to be all, they have to be cold turkey, they have to be nothing. And something as simple as a piece of fruit or something as simple as a vegetable or something is going to actually trip them up and just make them talk themselves into excuses to have more or to crave something more, or it's going to derail them off the diet. And if that's you, then absolutely, if that's why, if you're a strict carnivore and that's why, because you can't moderate, I get it. That's that, don't, by all means, do not have a piece of fruit. By all means, do not have some sauerkraut, because the last thing we want you to do is to upset your successes, that you've made so far on this lifestyle, So if that's you, absolutely, you got to be strict with yourself. So, and be strict with yourself. And I support you being strict with yourself. And I congratulate you for being able to be so strict with yourself. That's awesome, And for some people, that's not them. So, very good.
I know when I was keto, I switched, switched to keto. I was making cakes. I was making all those type of desserts and stuff. And then when I decided to switch over to carnivore just a little 2 years ago, I started a strict carnivore, stand on carnivore. And I'm thinking, did I really overcome my addiction of this sugar, or did I just replace it with this? Because when I went to carnivore, all those cravings went away. I can have every now and then I can eat because I used to, when I was keto, I ate strawberries, I eat blueberries, I eat blackberries all the time. I made, everything out of allulose or, monk fruit sweetener, stuff like that. Now I have monk fruit sweetener, but I barely use it now. Every now and then, I said for medicinal purposes, I have honey. Every now and then I might take a couple pieces of pork rind with butter and put a couple dabs of honey. I'm good. And it don't bother me. If it was keto, I'd be indulgent in that stuff.
Everybody has to know their selves. Be honest with yourselves. Know yourselves. Know what you can and cannot do, what you can get away with and what you can't. I know there's certain things, I'm one of those abstainers. I know there's certain things I can't touch. If I touch them, I'll be addicted all over again. Welcome, Dr. Nelson. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Nelson. Last week he came on and I had mentioned my cancer, and he said, send me an email. I got some information for you. Well, before I could send him an email, he actually found my email and sent the information to me without me even having to prompt him. To me, that tells me that's somebody that cares. And I've read through his whole thing, and we're going to get together. There's a lot of information there, and I've got a lot of questions. But the thing is, I believe Dr. Nelson went above and beyond to get me information to help me out. And I think he's just a credit to his profession. And I want to thank him publicly for being there for me.
All right. Very nice. Desiree says, thanks for answering my electrolyte question. I drink 3 to 4 flavored 1 scoop servings per day. I just assumed more was better. Yeah. In the case of electrolytes, no. Not really. Your body does a good job at regulating them, so like if electrolytes aren't coming in, it's going to work at conserving them and not spilling them, and then if you have an abundance of them, then your kidneys are going to spill them in your urine. And so to try and keep it balanced, you just don't want to overwhelm that balance, because again, especially potassium, you get that too high, and you can start having heart palpitations, the jitters, and it can too high and it can stop your heart eventually. So I'd knock that down to 1 a day, 1 every other day. I think it'll be fine with just that. So yeah, electrolytes are one of those things where, you don't want to go too crazy with them. And the electrolytes that we drink in this community, they're potent.
Yeah, they are.
Look at like a Gatorade is supposed to be an electrolyte drink. You ever look at the electrolytes in that? You're like, where's the electrolytes? Where?
Plenty of sugar.
It's flavored water.
Is sugar an electrolyte?
It's like potassium, like 10 grams, magnesium, 5 grams. It's like, I could lick this pavement and get as much electrolytes off the ground as I get out of this Gatorade bottle, And then you see LMNT, and you're like, dang, or Relight, and then you mix them together and you drink it. And it's like, it's salty as all get out, That's an electrolyte mix. So you don't want to be overdoing it.
Yeah, Gatorade, you got whatever 5% the minerals, and then you got 80% sugar and 80% dye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at that and I just thinking like, these, they always say, like, if you're on a football or soccer team, and you practice all day and you play, and it's like, here, you got to drink one of these and replenish your electrolytes. When you look at it, replenish what? There's no electrolytes in there. What are you talking about? Bill Cook says CBS aired Robert Kennedy last night on 60 Minutes talking about processed food, not so good. And good. You know what? I have to agree with his stance on processed food. I think his message is good. It's too bad that half the media out there wants to deride him and call him an idiot, but he knows what he's talking about. SEG, often it's not a problem to have something occasionally that isn't animal based. I agree. But it could become a slippery slope for people who are not moderators. It was you that made the comment. I thought it was Carnivore Cutler. It's slippery slope for people who are not moderators, and adding in those foods could cause cravings. 100%.
Exactly right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So that you were the comment I was looking for. Yes. Yeah, very good comment.
And it's the reason why we have to know ourselves.
Yeah.
I know my addiction really well from smoking cigarettes and chewing tobacco.
Same.
I know what it was like with sugar. I am glad I never tried. I never got hooked on prescription drugs. I never got hooked on illegal drugs.
Yeah, getting off of tobacco, then getting back on tobacco, and then getting off tobacco taught me everything I need to know about addiction.
I'll tell you where I would struggle with moderation. And is okay. And I could probably do it now. I could probably have one slice of pizza and be disciplined enough not to do it again. But it would be hard because back when I used to eat pizza, I didn't eat just one slice. I ate the whole pie. And it didn't matter if that was a 12-inch pie, a 14-inch pie, a 16-inch pie, or an 18-inch pie. I could not stop until that box was empty. So that's where I couldn't moderate there. So I'd be afraid of pizza. Not really. I think I'd be all right. But I mean, I'm thinking that's a weakness. Mexican food is another one.
When it comes to food, of course, I'm a food addict. I love all food, but when it comes to food, pizza's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one thing I will never touch it again unless I know I'm on my deathbed and I can still eat. Somebody asked one time on one of the forums I'm on, would you go off diet for your last meal if you were on death row? Well, of course I would. I'd have me pizza and a half gallon of Bluebell ice cream.
Yep.
Ain't gonna be
gotta go.
Good to be disciplined.
Go with a smile.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm dying in 2 hours. Can y'all order me a Casey's Taco Pizza and can I have a Dairy Queen Blizzard? I'm gonna go out with glory.
And while you at it, give me a can of Copenhagen. I'm gonna have me one more dip before I go.
Might as well.
Coach Julian says Dr. Barry should replace RFK Jr. I'd be a lot easier to listen to for sure. So RFK Jr. is hard to listen to. Dr. Barry, I can fall asleep listening to him. So Dr. Barry's got a very soothing voice.
Well, I like how he sits there and everybody poo-poos him about his diet and everything, thinks he's a crackpot and all this, and he walks over there and knocks out 20 pull-ups on a pull-up bar.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge any of these people that are poo-pooing on him to go do the same thing.
Yeah, when it comes to pizza, I'm making my own pizza, and it's either the Rick's Pacemaker Pizza, all carnivore, or I'll make my own meat-based pizza, but I don't eat it very much because it's got a lot of dairy in it. That is a treat every now and then, maybe once a month, maybe every other month, but I won't do it. And I might do it before I have my surgery, but after my surgery, I'm probably going to stay strict carnivore, 1 meal a day, and fast. The rest.
All right. Pam Young, keto never quieted the food noises for me, but strict lion does. All right. Very
It's
good.
an excellent point.
Hmm?
Yep.
Yeah.
I know, because Atkins was a keto style diet, very similar. I noticed, yeah, it never did that for me either. Never quieted my food noise. I always had to have that discipline in there. I always had to be resisting, yeah, that's an excellent point, Pam.
Yeah. No, this is too. And this was especially true for me when my keto was one of the problems with the mindset of keto. And this was a flaw with Atkins, probably, is because he had this appendix, and then there was these cookbooks coming out where you could try and make recipes that would imitate your standard American diet Western dishes, so trying to come up with keto pizzas, keto pasta, things like that, and try and make them so that they would taste like the real thing. And of course they never would. And but one of the things that carnivore changed about my mindset was that, okay, I'm just like, you know what? Pasta's out. I'm never eating pasta again. But when I was on keto, it was like, let me try and make keto pasta. For some reason, that was just the mentality in keto was like, I want to try and make keto this, keto that, the whole recipe thing, and trying to imitate these foods that you used to love was like part of the game. So you never divorced yourself from, hey, that's not really food. This is food. That's not food. Carnivore helped me to really understand the difference between this is food, this is not food, and I don't want to eat what's not food anymore. All right, looks like the barbecue party's over. How's it going, Rick?
Quack, quack.
Well, I just got through with my bath and feeding the kittens, and I figured I've been listening to this for at least half an hour about the electrolytes, the last meal, and all that. I'm like, I can't keep silent anymore. You know me. You know that I barely use any salt. I never salt beef, pork, rarely salt iguana. All I salt is chicken and eggs. And I never had electrolyte problems. Also, I don't, how can I put it? If I was going to have a last meal, it would be a steak. Why would I waste my time on duck food when I can have a delicious steak?
True. He's got a point there.
I'd want to have the finest choice. I mean, the best steak you can imagine, a 4-pound beast. Hopefully I'll have a heart attack before they can get to me.
Yeah, I'm eating something that I can't normally eat, and I can eat steak anytime I want. So.
Well, I can't, so it's a treat for me.
All right, very good. What's going on what's new in Charger Mopar's world?
Well, I finished cutting up the old '69 Charger.
Oh, yeah.
And now I gotta go through all the little pieces. I have sections that I took out, but at least I got my van back in the driveway yesterday. I got a little bit of grass trimmed out in the front. I got the stuff picked up, just from the stuff sitting there for a couple of weeks. It got so full of leaves and debris, and then there's all the trash from the neighborhood. Bunch of wrappers. I got McDonald's. I got Chick-fil-A. I got Pollo Tropical. I mean, all this stuff, it just all goes underneath the car when it sits there. I mean, it must be a junk food paradise around here.
It is everywhere, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, every street you drive down, it seems like there's a fast food joint someplace. And if there ain't a fast food joint, there's a convenience store selling junk, nothing but junk, duck food.
And the problem is when people put their stuff in the garbage, a lot of times a bag bursts open or it's loose and they dump it in the garbage truck. It flies out and then it blows down the street. And anywhere that there's a car parked or a tree, it all just accumulates. And I seem to be the center of accumulation around here. It's crazy.
That's the way Tigerville is where I work at. We have a Chick-fil-A, we have a McDonald's, we have a Chipotle, a Steak and Shake behind us. Used to be a Wendy's, Culver's right up the road, and then Andy's custard place just up the road. And it seems like almost every other day when we're at work, we have to pick up all that fast food garbage or it blows across. And of course, when the wind is just right, I smell that. I used to smell back in my early days when a standard diet or keto, Chick-fil-A smelled good. Now Chick-fil-A smells terrible. When that wind comes from the west, it just smells awful. Now, if the wind's coming from the north at 4:00 in the afternoon, you can smell the steaks cooking over a Texas Roadhouse. Now that smells delicious, but it's like, bring me that aroma, not the fast food aroma.
Yeah,
you're talking like me.
In my town, we've got one fast food joint, and that's a Sonic. That's all we got.
We haven't had one of those in 30 years here.
Even if I wanted fast food, that'd be the only place I could go to get it. And I've never been a big fan of Sonic anyhow.
It's not even near. I mean, I'm a mile from any fast food place, but the wrappers always seem to end up here.
Well,
people eat this crap.
Well, that's because these people throw them out of their cars when they're driving by. Okay, so we got one fast food joint in our town, and I live out in the country, but I do live along a state highway. And when I go to mow my right of way out there, and it's pretty long, pretty wide, and I'll find all kinds of fast food stuff out there, and it ain't from Sonic. There's no other fast food joints around. I'll find wrappers or cartons, bags, whatever, and people just throw the trash out. So one of the things I dislike about the American populace is that we are so willing to trash up our countryside, because we don't want it in our cars, so we toss it out in the countryside. Let somebody else pick it up. And when I lived in other countries, and I've lived in numerous different countries around the world, and we're the only ones that do that.
I don't eat in my car. I never eat in my car.
Yeah, everybody else, they wait till they get home, throw their trash out, but not here. We throw it out on the highways, and it's sad.
I noticed none of the old cars have a cup holder.
I hate
none of mine do.
Yeah,
I remember in the old cars, back in the 60s, Dad always had a pouch that was made to hang off of the window crank. Mm-hmm. And that's where you put your trash, and I seen some where you would have this basket that had sandbags on either side of it, and you would put it over your tunnel, your transmission tunnel, and the sandbags would hold it upright, and you put your trash in there. But it was just, in my family, if my old man had ever seen me throw a piece of trash out, if I was in the front seat, I'd have been in the back seat after he finished backhanding me.
Well, I admit I throw the bones on the side of the road.
Well, okay, that's natural.
That's all I got.
That's a natural byproduct.
Exactly.
I did have a friend of mine one time, and I got to admit, he got me on this one. He tossed his Coke can out the window one time. I said, "Man, what are you doing? Let's don't be trashing up the highways." He says, "I'm not. I'm helping the homeless." Okay, well, he had a point, because people do go along the sides and pick up cans.
With my vehicle, I don't even have to open the window. I just drop it on the floor and it disappears.
That sounds like one thing about rust. You either get it in the rust belt here, we don't usually have it on the floorboards until you get further north and we're further in the rust belt, but then you go to Florida and then you have the rust belt.
Everything here rusts into the ground. We've had cars that were parked, and 10 years later, it's a pile of rust. Not even a car anymore.
Wow. All right. Very good. Carnivore Cutler was saying keto cookout is an extremely entertaining time for me. Those are on Tuesdays, right, Rick?
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I'm on there every other week. I won't be this week, but I was there last week.
All right. I just shared everybody's channel, by the way, who's on screen. Jeff's channel, Kelly's channel, and Rick's channel over in the comments. So if you're not familiar with these three amigos here, go check them out and show them your support. Let's see here. Mason says Atkins was 30 carbs or less on keto to lose weight. Dr. Atkins was brilliant. I agree. And Dustin says, we have to remember there are lots of people, no matter the health benefits, will still shy away from meat or only eat the absolute minimum. That is true. Some people just have struggled to gain a taste for meat.
We've seen that even in the carnivore community.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people they come to the community and they want to heal, they want to heal the metabolism and get better, but they've gone so long without eating meat that it's hard for them to eat much of it, and even harder for them to eat the fat.
Mm-hmm. Thomas.
Yes.
You like to chew the fat, right? Boom. That's the name of his show. So,
Yes.
All right. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing good. So,
All
yeah.
right. Excellent.
Yeah, I actually missed the Zoom call today with Dr. Keltz.
So did I. I wasn't there.
Did you? I got the last 5 minutes. I know Rick was there. I saw him. He was hiding behind one of the books that he has behind him. So.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get off work early. I even haughtily told my wife as I left. I was leaving at 10, a little after 10. I'm like, man, I'll be back by 3. Today's going to be easy. Today kicked my butt. I didn't get home till 6:15.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. So, all right, Thomas.
I had no idea what they were talking about, but
channel. I'm posting his in the chat too. So you join us on screen. I post your link in the chat. See how that works? So by the way, if you want to join us on screen, if you're on YouTube, it is pinned over there in the chat. So it should be perpetually visible.
Yes.
And then if not, I'm going to post it again here, StreamYard.com, and a bunch of little funny letters that come after it. If you're on Facebook or X and you want to come on and talk to us here about carnivore or meat-centric diet of any fashion, we're all ears. So, and we're supportive of it too. So, no one here on this panel is going to criticize you for eating Dr. Sean O'Mara's sauerkraut or eating Paul Saladino's apples. So, or eating Dr. Barry's Brussels sprouts. So, all right. Very good. But Bride's Biscuit likes to eat meat, eggs, seafood, some dairy, coffee, and raw sauerkraut. Been doing that for 3 years. No, never going back to the standard American diet. All right. Good for you, Bride's Biscuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good to see you too, Bride's Biscuit. I haven't seen you in a while.
And that never going back, that's something I say now too. And it's something that I could never fully say or appreciate or even wanted to do prior to carnivore. There's just things that carnivore changed my mentality on all kinds of things. Like when I did Atkins, the goal was to lose weight, but then I wanted to return to normal. Every time I dieted, it was just something. I was just trying to lose weight. And it was a hack. I never saw it as like a lifestyle. And I understood. I read Dr. Atkins' book, and his phase 4 was Atkins for life, is what he called it. And he never was supposed to get off of it, but it didn't really sink in. But I yo-yo dieted. But when I did carnivore, and I reversed these diseases, and I took off the weight, and that was my first YouTube video was about carnivore for life, and I never, ever want to go back to the standard American diet.
No.
But I never could say that before. Even when I lost the weight, and even when I hit my goals, I reached my goal weight. Awesome. Let's celebrate let's go get pizza. It's like I look back at that and I'm like, man, how stupid I was, you know. Man, and it's so, but this has really made my mind over now. I think about food and nutrition and diet differently now, and it's truly a lifestyle. So I like that. Never going back.
Well, Rick, unless it's your pizza,
Yep.
not even heart attack pizza. No.
There's another doggy.
Look, Doo-Doo, you're on TV. Look, you're on live with a goofy hound dog. Look,
All right. Hey there.
there you go.
All right. Look at the camera. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I keep hearing about this heart attack pizza. I think I'm gonna have to give this a try.
Pizza, one of the best things you could ever have.
We're gonna have to just like get all the ingredients and maybe just do it. Maybe just do it live. We'll sit here and make pizza.
It's the only pizza that Rick will eat.
Mm-hmm.
Rick
They
has got
already
me.
did that once. They did a live on that once where everybody came together. I know Thomas was there, Rick, Kelly was there,
Kelly was there.
Booby Goats was there, Aaron. Yeah, I watched that. I found it interesting. Everybody had, their own little different twist to it, or did a little bit different, but it was all basically the same.
I remember hearing they did that for the heart attack burger.
They did it for the pizza too.
Pacemaker pizza too.
Yeah, like I said, I watched that one. Makes me want to try it.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
I'm sure I won't.
The next thing, Rick got me my wheels a turning when he did that when carnivore and keto collide with his water wrap. I'm gonna try that. I know Bella Steak and Butter Gal. I did her egg noodles, which is pretty much it was collagen and eggs, but Rick has cheese and eggs and whipped it up, cooked it just like an omelet, made a wrap out of it. And I'm like, I'm thinking about making a beef burrito out of that.
That would be a good way to go.
You bet.
Yeah, I watched the full the iguana wrap video. That was good.
Yeah, I did too.
It's kind of like crayfish. It's all in the tail.
And the legs.
Yeah, you just basically break the tail off. That's where all the meat is. Throw the rest away.
Well, and the bigger iguana is just meat on the back too.
Yeah.
I want to get a big iguana so I can get the skin and redo my bike seat.
That would be neat to see there.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the custom bike seat with iguana skin?
That'd be cool. Yeah, I've seen motorcycle seats done in exotic hides, and they look great.
Yeah, iguana will make a nice one because it's pretty durable.
Yeah.
All right. Charlie says, I haven't had coffee in 5 days. Not a big deal. So therefore I haven't been using my Snickers coffee cream. And I've lost another 5 pounds. Well, I suppose you would if you cut out the Snickers coffee cream.
That just sounds disgusting.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Snickers coffee
You
cream.
got us all snickering. You hear that? Yeah, this throws honestly, Charlie, this throws me for a loop. You're a cool dude. You've been on screen before, and you every week you're like, I cut out the fat. I've been eating, and this is what I'm eating, and you're doing good, and it's also encouraging, and we'd love to hear your results. But then you drop.
And you mentioned Snickers coffee.
Snickers coffee.
But we love you anyways, Uncle Charlie.
and is it sugar free? Is it like a zero sugar coffee creamer? I mean,
There's still got to be carbs in that.
Well, I mean, there's
Yeah, but
regular
most-
coffee creamer would, but the zero sugar coffee creamer would have be minimal carb. It'd be like milk, or regular cream, be minimal. But
I don't know if I want.
I think if you look at the ingredients of those are I think they're seed oil based though. I think they're seed oil based.
Yeah, it's not full. It's not real cream in it. It's all fake.
Right.
Chemicals.
Yep, pretty much.
Snickers.
I mean,
coffee
I
creamer.
can't help but wonder if the reason why he lost the 5 pounds is he took away the Snickers coffee cream because of taking away the coffee. Like, you know, if it wasn't necessarily the coffee that did it, but the Snickers coffee cream, taking that away is what lost him the 5 pounds. No.
Yeah, I don't know. So like, so there's.
I just can't help but wonder that.
Yeah, no. I know. I said the same thing. I know where you're coming from. Like, if I cut out the coffee creamer too, you know. But like, here we go. Here. So let's analyze this. So let me see if I can blow this up here. There we go. So it's 5 grams per tablespoon. So includes 5 grams of added sugar. So it is added sugar, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, like I said, you know,
Right.
a human can the
That's
human
not a
body
whole lot.
can the human body tolerate 5 grams of sugar? Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's people that have a lot more than that every day of their lives. So, like, you know, a tablespoon of that in your coffee every day, is that really going to derail someone's progress? For most people, no. For some people, yes, it would. You know, but it's probably not that big of a deal.
Dustin
Yeah.
says look up the sugar-free version.
Yeah. And then the sugar-free version, and then so here, water, sugar, soybean oil,
Mm.
less than
First
2%.
ingredient.
You know, so it is soybean oil. Now, so let's look up.
If there is a sugar-free version.
I don't know. Let me try sugar-free Snickers coffee creamer search. There is no current sugar. Okay, according to Copilot, there is none.
So that's your answer right there.
Right. Yeah. And so, like I said, you know, I'm not. If he likes the sugar coffee creamer, let him have the sugar coffee creamer. I'm just surprised with someone who normally is like,
Right, like super strict.
strict
look
this,
what he-
strict that, but he's got his
Look what he's
Snickers
done.
coffee, you know.
He hasn't had coffee in 5 days, so
Hey, that's
he
impressive.
hasn't been using his Snickers coffee cream. Lost
Right.
it in 5
And
He
he
quit.
used to weigh a lot, and now
Yes.
he's lost weight. And he used to have a ridiculous A1C, and now it's down to manageable levels.
So this is a success story. We're having a little fun here, but this is a success story.
It is.
right.
You're right.
Yeah, it's Uncle Charlie is truly an inspiring success story, you
Yes.
know, and he definitely, you know, sets an example. And like I said, if you have Snickers coffee creamer, I don't care. You know, if that tablespoon a day with your morning coffee doesn't phase you any, have at it. Okay,
And I'm gonna tell-
I'm not going to demonize you for it.
And
So,
it beats the heck out of going and getting that breakfast dessert they call Starbucks.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
Because I
that stuff
guarantee
is
you
really
that-
horrible.
yeah,
because I guarantee you that 1 tablespoon, if he drinks 1 cup of coffee with a tablespoon, it's not going to affect him. Versus you going to Starbucks and getting, I don't know what that concoction that they make, because it's disgusting.
So yeah.
Even
So like
on
I
my
said,
standard days, I went one time and got that, and I'm like, this stuff is terrible. And I was a sugar addict, and that stuff was terrible.
Well, when I drank coffee, I was a black coffee drinker. I tried putting some stuff in it one time, and I'm like, why do people do this? It just tastes terrible to me. I didn't care for it.
I just sweeten with a little stevia. So that's all.
I couldn't. I did a Starbucks one time, a long time ago, and that was the last time. It was just way too sweet. And that's back when I did eat a sad diet.
Yeah. So anyway, the amusing part is like, you know, Uncle Charlie's in the carnivore community, like, you know, and then he's like Snickers coffee creamer, you know. So it's cute. So all right, very good. Standing foot. What form of sauerkraut should be carnivore friendly? Well, if you are okay with adding sauerkraut to your carnivore diet, probably any of them. That's usually just pickled cabbage. So, all right.
My understanding Yeah, technically, sauerkraut ain't carnivore. So, but if you're eating it for your gut microbiome, my understanding, and I have no idea if this is true or not, you want the stuff that's in the refrigerated section.
Yeah.
You don't want anything out of the can. You want it.
Yeah, you don't want the powdered stuff.
It's
Make
gonna
your
be
own.
fresher. Suppose it's going to taste better. I don't know.
All you
if
need is
can,
salt and cabbage.
Yeah, if you can, make your own.
Right.
It's easy.
Yeah, salt, cabbage, and pressure. Just got to put pressure on it.
I don't have it all the time, but I do add it when my energy levels, when I have to eat a bunch of cheap meat and I notice my energy levels aren't 100%, I'll add it.
Yeah. Now I will admit, I attempted to make some one time, and I didn't have a pot to do it in. I just used a large mason jar, and I'll admit it didn't come out all that good for me. I didn't care for it, but I'm sure I did something wrong in the process of making it. I don't know what it was, but I'd like to get me one of those big crocks that they use for making it and try that.
What was wrong with it?
It just had a funky taste to it.
Did you put enough salt?
Pardon?
Did you put enough salt?
Well, I thought I did. Maybe I didn't.
Add more. When in
right.
doubt, add more.
Okay.
If you don't put enough salt, it'll grow fungus, and
Right.
then it'll be ruined.
Good to know.
I actually did an experiment. I made the right way and the wrong way. I have it in my kitchen right now. I was showing it to a friend of mine because theirs failed. I told him he didn't put enough salt.
It may be what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I know my daughter made some here recently, but I haven't got any feedback from her on how hers came out.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those things we talk about. We talk about buying this stuff in the store and everything, and Rick does it. I do a lot of it. I know a lot of people in the carnivore community do it. A lot of people, there's a certain satisfaction and a certain health benefit to making your own stuff. And most of it is not hard to do. I know soap. I know Rick makes his own soap. That's something I'm going to learn to do is make soap. Because I don't want perfumes and stuff like that, because anything you put on your body is going to get absorbed into your body. So, it's like I don't wear deodorant very often. When I do, it's a natural deodorant. But I find that I don't need to wear deodorant anymore. I just don't stink. I did an experiment one time, didn't shower for 3 days, and it took 3 days before I began to have a little bit of odor. But the thing is, we talked about the mayo earlier. Make your own mayo. It's amazingly simple to make mayo. If you've got to have mayo for a recipe, and Chris Cook in Nashville has a good butter mayo recipe. Now, I've used duck fat, and it's delicious. Duck fat mayo is great stuff.
Lard.
Yeah, lard. But unfortunately, those type mayos, if you refrigerate them, will solidify. But
That's fine.
yeah, that's fine. But Chris Cook in Nashville has a butter mayo that he says doesn't solidify. But anyways, there's all kinds of things we can make ourselves. We can make our own electrolytes. We can make our own. You can even make your own butter. It's not hard to do.
Eat sauerkraut. You don't need electrolytes.
You can make your own sauerkraut. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can make yourself. Look into it. It's fun to play with this stuff.
Next year, I'm gonna buy me some tomato plants. I still have my raised beds. I am actually gonna grow my own tomatoes. It's probably the only thing I will grow, and I am going to learn how to ferment tomatoes. I want to do that. And I'll probably just get the small tomatoes, a few small, because you can get quite a bit on there. And I got canning jars. All I need to do is get what I need for fermenting and go from there. It looks pretty easy.
Salt and water.
Yeah, it is.
The thing is, if you don't ferment them, they'll rot really quickly, especially the little tomatoes, like the Everglades tomatoes. So you get them by the ton, you put them all in a pot with salt, and then you put them in different jars and let them ferment.
Now I've got a friend of mine that since we moved, one of my neighbors, they raised guineas, and their guineas were putting out more eggs than they could handle, and I'm like, I'm right here. So he was giving me 4 dozen guinea eggs every couple of weeks. And, guinea eggs are real small. So, if you would normally make a 3-egg omelet with a regular chicken egg, you're going to do anywhere from 6 to 8 eggs on guinea eggs. But I told him that we had a lunch here a couple of days ago together because we still meet up even though we live far apart now. And he was like, "Man, I'm just overloaded with eggs." I said, "Well, when we meet once a month for lunch, you could always bring me some. I mean, I got my own chickens, but I'll eat guinea eggs too. We eat a ton of eggs." And I said, "But have you ever thought of preserving them?" And he says, "Preserving them how?" I says, "In lime." I says, "That if you go back to our old pioneers, so chickens in the wintertime won't lay. It's a sun thing. They're not getting enough daylight. They won't lay. They'll quit laying. So our pioneers, what they would do is they would have a lot of chickens. They'd collect the eggs. When they had more than they could eat, they would preserve them in a water bath of lime. And the eggs would keep all winter long in that lime. And I'm not talking about boiling them or cooking them. I'm talking you just put them in there. You don't clean the bloom off of them or nothing. You put them in there, you let them sit, and 3-6 months later, you can take them out of there. It's just like fresh eggs. Crack them in a skillet and cook them up. And, these are things that we've lost the ability to do. We've lost the knowledge in doing it, I love how the pioneers used to handle their meat, how they used to handle their eggs. They were the best at preserving things.
Yeah, I know my grandfather and them, when they did hams, they are any kind of meat, they didn't put in the freezer. They preserved it by salting it down. Whatever they got to do, they kept the old feed sacks, wrapped it in the feed sacks, and it went into the cellar.
And he had a smokehouse too, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
you got to have a smokehouse. Yeah, the butcher and hog day, that was an adventure. Because everybody comes together. And you might do 2 or 3 hogs in one day, and that's a chore. That's a big one. Because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to scald them. Well, the first thing you're going to do is kill them. But you're going to scald them, and then everybody gets out there with the scrapers and scrape all the hair off of them, and then you're going to skin them, start splitting up the different meats. And you're taking the hams over to the smokehouse, the bacon and whatnot. You're throwing it you got pits of salt that you're just covering them in salt, to start the curing process. But it was an all day thing. Man.
I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, my grandma probably was still living, or she just passed away. But I remember grandpa always lived up in a shack, and they, I had the main house, no indoor plumbing. They had a deep well by the house. They had a deep well down in the barn just below the house. Chickens, they always butchered there at the main house, and they always butchered just the laying. They get new chickens, and then they get a bunch of roosters. They butchered the roosters. There's your chicken. Then in the wintertime or in the fall, right after deer season, somewhere around November, December, they have the hog butcher. And I had an aunt on my mom's mom, one of my mom's, I guess the oldest sister that's still living now. Her and her husband, they brought their hogs down, and up at the shack, they had this big old bath where they would, they killed the hog, they put it in there, they scald it, and you scrape it. He had the meat grinder up there, the meat slicer. I remember coming back the following week, my Uncle Doc, he was cooking cracklings.
Yeah.
All those
nothing went to waste. Nothing goes to waste. Even that hide gets cooked up. If it's not used for leather, it's going to get cooked up. You bet. I make cracklings when I make. There's another thing I make. I make my own bacon. And I'll buy a whole pork belly, and if I buy it at the butcher shop, it's still going to have the skin on it. It's already been scalded and dehydrated. Or take the hide and I cut it off. I leave some of the fat on that hide when I cut it off, and I'll cut it up and make pork cracklings out of it. It's good stuff.
Well, Uncle Charlie, forget about Dr. Boz. Just eat beef, bacon, eggs, chicken, fish, shrimp, and fast twice a week. Don't eat cheese, butter, yogurt, cottage cheese, sour cream. You'll drop a ton of weight. And 1 meal a day. And Snickers coffee creamer.
Ain't gonna live that one down. It's kind of like Pretzel Pete. Ain't gonna live it down.
Yeah.
Bill says,
No.
I did what Mitch said. Throw out the scale and try getting off carbs and just eat meat and eggs for the first 30 days. Yeah, excellent.
No argument there.
30 days. I will admit that I weigh myself every day. I don't. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with it, but I just like to know where I'm at, so.
Oh yeah, I watch mine occasionally. And I do like Mitch's story. It's a good example for everybody out there. When he had his stroke, went in the hospital, he ate that hospital food, and he got hooked right back on the carbs again.
Yep.
And when he came back home, he was eating the ice cream, Kiltz's ice cream, putting blueberries in it. He was going through a bag of blueberries every couple of days, whatever. And finally realized, dang it, he's hooked again. And he had to go back to being disciplined and get unhooked. But it was a good, honest testimony, and he showed what he went through with that. And so, it's a good example for other people.
Yeah.
That's why
I can attest to that. So
that's why my last time when I was in a hospital with that pulmonary embolism, I refused every meal they brought me. I wouldn't touch it. So I don't even want your bacon and eggs. I just told my wife, bring me some hamburger patties. Bring me some meat. I'm not going to eat their stuff.
yeah, I can attest to that because I was in rehabs and hospitals for like 3 months in a shot. So it is it's hard to get back off, but
Yeah.
I mean you
I
do
don't want to deal with
be very, very strict.
I'm just fortunate that I've got a wife that's willing to do that for me.
Yeah.
Because I'd made up my mind when I was in there. I've got a choice. My wife can bring me something to eat, or I can fast, and I was willing to fast.
But how many days were you in there?
I was only in there for 3 days.
Okay, so yeah, I was in there for 3 months. So that's
Yeah, 3 months makes a big difference.
yeah.
But even at 3 months, I would, I would do a lot of fasting, and my wife would be bringing me a lot unless
Right, like
unless they were,
changing it a little bit, yeah.
unless they were willing to cater to me. I mean, if they were willing to cater to me, that's fine. If you'll cook me steaks and eggs.
Well, I mean, when I went to rehab the last time, it was for about a month. It wasn't as long, but they gave me the burgers. They did what I wanted, and I was very lucky, very fortunate. But at the same time, even with the stuff they gave me, how am I guaranteed that it's actually what I would normally eat?
Yeah.
I'm sure the eggs weren't really eggs. I'm sure I'm sure that it wasn't like exactly like what I would order and what I would do.
Yeah, and while I don't worry too much about seed oils if I go out to eat,
Right.
if I was in a hospital and they were cooking my eggs every day, I know they're going to be cooking them in seed oils. Now I'm back to, I'm getting it every day. The poison is in the dose type deal. I wouldn't want that. If they couldn't guarantee me they'd cook them in butter or tallow, then I just wouldn't want them. Bring me hard-boiled eggs in that case.
Yeah. But have you ever had a hard boiled egg? It's like rocks.
Is it in the hospital?
Yeah.
They don't know how to cook them either, do they?
I asked for hard boiled eggs one time, and the yolk was like super dark green.
Oh no!
No,
You
I
guys
either
don't really know how to
fast or
make
I
it.
will prepare the day before with some dehydrated, thick cut bacon. I will get me some Chomps beef sticks, and I'll say, "Someone go get me some burger patties." I am not eating this stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's luckily my surgery will be outpatient, and I'll be home the same day.
Really? They're going to do a total hip replacement outpatient.
Yeah,
My
they've
goodness.
been doing that.
Wow.
That's
Boy, things have changed in 20 years.
Yeah, my
You're
mom
60.
I think my mom, when she was in the hospital, or when she had her knee replaced, double knee replacement, she was in the hospital for about a week. But now it's like over, it could be
most people overnight, but it's pretty much outpatient. I had a friend of mine. We go to church together. He just stayed overnight because he chose to, because he's diabetic. He chose to stay overnight just to make sure everything was okay. But he could have went home the same day.
That's amazing. I know when I had my done, it was done back in 2000, 26 years ago. I was in the hospital for, I believe, 5 days, and they would not let me leave until I could walk down the hallway and back on crutches. Not even on a walker, but I had to do it on crutches.
Right.
And when I could do that, and I rushed that, I faked it. I mean, I walked it, but I made like it was real easy and not any problem, and it still hurt like hell. But I got it done just because I wanted out of there. And see that place now, that hospital I was in, I didn't eat their food, but I wasn't carnivore. It's just their food was that bad. I couldn't eat it. It was horrible. All I could eat was the Jell-O, drink the juice, and drink the coffee, and that was it. Nothing else was edible in that place.
So I just still think about my hospital experience, and that's where I started carnivore. So they treated me right. So, but I only had a breakfast there. So, but they were able to give me eggs, sausage, bacon with some cheese on it. No toast, no potatoes. They ordered what I wanted, and that was great. Now, if I stay there long term, it might have been more difficult. But I didn't look at the rest of the menu. So,
yeah, for that short time I was in there, I probably could have handled, the eggs and the sausage. It wouldn't have been a big deal. It was just more of a point for me that it was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do it that way.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, also for 3 days, most of us do fast for 3 days without a problem.
Yeah.
So.
all right. Jamette says, Kelly, from me and Juliet, can you make keto or carnivore peanut butter? That's a tough one without nuts. Nope, not happening.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, not unless you can find an animal named peanut butter. That would be the way. I'll tell you what. My next goat, I'll name it peanut butter, and we'll have carnivore peanut butter.
Yeah. Find a duck or something like that. Name them peanut butter.
I was thinking all peanut butter, if you get the brands without the sugar in it, could technically fit into a keto diet.
Yeah. I used to do peanut butter when it came to keto.
Yeah. But there's no
Not
carnivore.
carnivore. No.
Yeah, if you get the two ingredients, peanuts and salt, then it's pretty much there's your simple peanut butter. Other than that, I won't eat that stuff anymore.
Something else you can make your own. I even heard Rick say that he couldn't eat the store brand stuff, but when you went to the store where you could grind your own, and it was just just mashed up peanuts, all it was. You can handle that. Of course, oils will separate in it. You got to keep it stirred up all the time. But
Yeah. You always have to, because I used to do when I was keto, I used to make keto fat bombs, like actually make them, and I made them with peanut butter and like the 90% cacao chocolate, and which they're pretty good. They're like peanut butter cups, but I actually got the peanut butter from Whole Foods, and I would just get peanuts and put them in that little thing, and I would crush it up.
yeah, and I think it was I can't remember which store it was at, one that's owned by Central Market.
Right.
You go into the section where they had all the different nuts and the different, candies and whatnot, and you could buy them by the pound, and they had a peanut butter machine in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you could just buy the peanuts, dump them in there, grind them up.
Yeah. The one where I used to live in Princeton, they that particular Whole Foods had the same thing, and I would just make the peanut butter.
Yeah.
But you're right. You have to keep it stirred up, because if it dries up, it's
I can't think of anything I would want peanut butter with now.
Oh, I can't even concept having peanut
Like
butter.
what peanut butter goes with jelly, peanut butter goes with chocolate. What else? I can't think of anything.
Serves
You
no
know.
purpose in my life anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like I remember eating celery that had peanut in the peanut butter in the celery.
I did. It's the only way I could eat celery.
Um,
Now, who could eat celery by itself? I couldn't eat it. That stuff was terrible.
I always had to.
I had,
I figured
Now-
that's why celery was made the way it was, just so you could load it up with peanut butter.
Right,
Yes.
because of the little crevice.
Yeah.
or peanut butter or cheeses or something like that. So when I was a kid, my dad had a friend named Ed. They would go hunting together, and McDonald's came out with their egg McMuffin. And so, but my dad's friend Ed, when they go deer hunting, and I went with them sometimes, he made what he called the Ed McMuffin. And so what they would do is take a muffin or a bagel or toast or whatever, and he would put eggs, and he would actually spread peanut butter on the toast and have it with the egg like in a sandwich. It was actually pretty good. So maybe an egg life wrap with some scrambled eggs and a little bit of peanut butter in it. But I don't know. It doesn't sound appealing when I think about it.
Well, you know what?
So-
I will let you make that experiment.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to think like I had peanut butter with an egg sandwich and it was good. It was weird, but it was something this Ed guy did, and I tried it and I liked it. But I was a kid, so I liked anything. We put peanut butter on anything. And
I'll throw a weird one at you, and I get a lot of funky looks about this one. But my parents used to love, about once a month they'd have a BLT night where they just make BLT sandwiches.
Mhm.
And I didn't like tomatoes and I didn't like lettuce, so I wasn't eating a BLT. So what I would do is I would make, this is going to gross some people out, but peanut butter, it'd be on toast, of course, peanut butter, bacon, and Miracle Whip. That would be my sandwich. And I used to love that as a kid. I know it's weird, but it
Hey,
works.
you were a kid, so we'll let it slide. Yeah.
Let's face facts. It was last week. No, I was kidding.
No, I
We
mean
all have
we all did
our
weird
little-
stuff as a kid. You know, like
Yeah, we all have it.
You were
you
a
know,
kid.
dip your
So.
fries and Coke and things like dumb stuff like that. We go to the soda fountain, mix everything together.
yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to do that when I worked for Roy Rogers. I used to like take all the sodas and just mix them.
We called them a suicide.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. On the way home from school, if we saved our lunch money up and didn't spend it, we'd stop there at the Church's Fried Chicken on the way home because that was the only place between school and home. Stop there and everybody get a suicide.
Masons, what dehydrator air fryer is best in anyone's opinion? So I can't comment on air fryers. I don't have a lot of experience with them. I got this cheap one I got from Kohl's. It does the trick. I can't even set the temperature on it. I think it's just flat 400 degrees. I'm going to buy a dehydrator, and I'm going to get a Magic Mill. So it's another thing I've been talking about forever, but you have yet to see me execute. But
I like my Kasori. I bought it because it was recommended by somebody on here. I don't remember who. It might have been Cranky. Recommended it, and I researched it on Amazon, and it had good reviews. So I went ahead and bought the Kasori. It was between it and the Ninja. And the Kasori had a dehydrator option on it. And so I went in and bought it, 6 quart. Does everything I want it to do. Seems to work well.
I got a Ninja 6-in-1 dual basket.
Those are the ones I hear the most about is the Ninjas and the Kasoris.
I'm not sure what brand I have. I'd have to look, and I'm too lazy to get up to look. So, but mine does. I dehydrated bacon, but the thing is, when I dehydrate it, you don't get that much out of it. So it would be nice to have like a bigger one just for that purpose.
all right, getting to the end of these here. Robin Refined Fire. Getting back into the swing of things. It has felt so good. It has only been a short week of beef and coffee and the minimal coffee things for coffee. It happens so quick. All right, well, good job. You're back in the game. Keep doing what you're doing. And we're here for you. And to motivate you in any way possible. Rodney says, after having to remove dairy, being thin already, I started losing more weight. I usually eat 2 meals daily, so I am figuring need to eat more often. Add some avocados and sweet potatoes. Suggestions. Some add avocados and sweet potatoes. Any suggestions? You're losing weight that you don't need to lose. Yeah, eat more or eat more carbs. So, I mean, you really have it down pat here. Yeah. So, or maybe even eat more fat. I don't know if you're eating lean meat. If you're eating lean, and you don't eat lean. So yeah, bring the dairy. Is there a reason why you left off the dairy?
I was going to actually ask that question.
He can't tolerate it.
Okay.
He can't tolerate dairy.
Oh, okay.
I see Jerry's back on break. Here's that bracelet that Evelyn made.
Oh, let me blow you up here.
That's a nice. Oh, that looks cool. Evelyn made that.
Yeah, Evelyn Keto Helpline did.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
Wow. Yep, she made it. She made everybody one. It was really neat.
You guys went to that meetup with Dustin and Amy.
Yeah.
So Rodney, if you can tolerate avocados and sweet potatoes, go for it. What are your reasons for going carnivore? Why'd you eliminate them to begin with? Those are some questions that we would need answers to. If you're thin, you obviously didn't go carnivore for weight reasons. You went carnivore for health reasons. What were those? And what foods would be mostly closely related to those? Those are the ones you obviously don't want to add back. But you can add back, whatever you can tolerate, and if you can eat another meal or make your meals bigger, that will stop you from losing weight. Or you can add carbohydrates, and there's going to be some carbs and avocados, a lot of healthy fats in avocados, by the way. Sweet potatoes, it's going to have some starches in it, so yeah, I mean, that's maybe one way to do it. So, but why did you go carnivore? So, I'm not going to say, generally speaking, single ingredient whole food, fruits and vegetables is not going to harm you in as long as you don't go overboard on it. That's not a blanket statement that applies to everybody. So it kind of depends on what your conditions are. So we would need to know more about that. So try, if you're kind of against the plant idea, try to add a third meal or a snack, or make your meals bigger, and see if that doesn't help. When I was losing weight, I was 2 meals a day. And then when I had my triglyceride scare and decided to stop losing weight, I did so by adding back a third meal a day. So that did it for me. And then I maintained my weight for several years, 3 meals a day. And then now I'm losing weight again because I'm back to 2 meals a day. So. And I bookmarked this, but I missed Jamet's comment. Spam. Jamet was asking if Spam is carnivore. Yes. So
meat.
Yep, it's meat. It's meat in a can. It does have a little bit of cornstarch in it to hold the moisture in the meat, but it's trivial. So it's not pure, and almost no processed meat is pure. You go to the deli counter, your salami, your pepperoni, your ham, your turkey. I mean, it's all carnivore. Your bologna, it's your hot dogs, your sausages. Those are all carnivore, but they're not pure. There's going to be a tiny little something in there that you're going to be like, I kind of wish that wasn't in there.
Most of them all have sugar in them of some kind.
Spam's the same way. It's got that tiny little bit of starch.
I mean, I would think that Spam kind of falls into the category that Dr. Barry, where it's better than what you had before.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, Spam is better than spam. Carnivore diet with spam and hot dogs and bologna is better than Frosted Flakes.
Frosted
You know.
Flakes or cupcakes or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Me
I will
personally,
eat
I like
spam.
spam.
I'll
Or,
eat spam
or,
from time
or,
to time.
cookie crisps.
Yeah. I'll eat spam from time to time with a clean conscience. I'll eat a hot dog from time to time with a clean conscience. Bacon. Your bacon. You look at the ingredients. It's been the brine had sugar in it. It'll say 0 carb. Spam will say 1 gram of carb per serving. Again, it's trivial. So so if you want to zero down and just be strict, then go hunt your meat. But if you just want to be carnivore, spam is going to be, and spam fits into that. I can afford spam. I like spam. Enjoy your spam once in a while.
I used to love spam burnt with some mustard.
Yeah. Oh, we used to eat the spam all the time. Camping and whatnot. Fried eggs and spam. Absolutely love it.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I took that on the
A lot of
mission
salt
trip.
in it.
I took some cans on the mission trip. I also took an air fryer, because they do have electricity there at the shack or the compound. So when when they had something that I'm not going to eat, I'm going to make my own.
Yeah. I concur with that,
All right, I'm out of comments. I'm out of starred comments, so I'm trying to.
I thought I saw one more that you had. No.
Oh, do I?
Oh
no, that was
you just didn't take it.
That was a bookmark.
Yeah.
So now
it's actually right there now.
Yeah. So
I can actually see your starred comments.
Yeah, that's fine. So.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You show them to us. Yeah. Yeah, I can be like, hey, is he going to do one of my comments?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so we're talking about dehydrators. Jamette says, thanks for answering. Yeah. Carmack says, wait, Frosted Flakes isn't carnivore? No. And you're like,
darn, I'm done. I'm done.
They were great.
I suppose I could name another goat Frosted Flakes and make it carnivore. But.
Yeah, right. Name a goat Frosted Flakes. Well, we didn't say flakes of what. You could flake up some.
I can go to Sam's and say, I'll go to Sam's and say this package of ground beef was peanut butter. Peanut butter was a cow. He sacrificed for us carnivores.
My steak identifies as Frosted Flakes. It self-identifies.
Yeah.
DB Carmack's going to start making appearances and content and live soon and take over YouTube. All right, come on. You can do it. You can do it. If we all can do it, you can do it.
Yep. If anybody can do it, Tim.
I saw something else here. So I guess he was on Rick's live. Oh, look, Rick's vanished. So, all right. Very good.
There's a QQQ, Jim is asking.
Yeah.
Way better.
Thoughts on fruits as Dr. Barry and Nisha give to their kids. I like blueberries like Mitch, but not carnivore. Again,
Up to you.
it's up to you. That's the we're gonna keep coming down to that. If you have a reason to not eat fruit, then don't eat fruit. If you can tolerate a little bit of fruit, then enjoy your fruit. Probably the biggest warning, the biggest caveat, the biggest thing we just say be aware of is like there are people where if they start eating fruit, they can't stop, and fruit turns into fruit roll-ups and turns into chocolate chip cookies and turns into fast food and next thing you know they're back on the standard American diet and they're no longer carnivore. The life of them as a carnivore is a blip in their past.
Yeah. Well, look what happened to Mitch, blueberries.
And what it all started of it was eating some fruit. But that's not everybody. Okay. There are tons of people out there who eat an otherwise carnivore diet and still enjoy fruit from time to time. And it is nothing. It's nothing to them, you know. So I had an apple Sunday yesterday. So um, I'm fine. I didn't die. I didn't get diseased. I didn't put on any weight, you know, but I had one. And then the odds of me having another one anytime soon are next to nil. The bag that my wife got from Sam's Club, if I start to see that nobody's going through them and they start to go bad, then I might have another one just because I hate the concept of wasting money. So, but it's generally not for me, you know. Sometimes I have some blueberries, sometimes I have some strawberries. I'm thinking fine. I'm cool, completely cool with the animal-based version of carnivore. I'm completely cool with this Dr. Sean O'Mara's version of carnivore, where he adds in the fermented fruits, his living diet. You know, I'm completely cool with the keto and the ketovores. You know, my diet philosophy, if it's single ingredient whole foods that Mother Nature or God provided, that you can eat in its raw state without getting sick, because that tells me it's designed for humans. And that's why I don't eat like most legumes, because you can't eat them unless they're cooked. That tells me I wasn't designed to eat them.
Right. You can't just pick them from a bush or whatever.
Right. Same thing with most grains. If I can't pluck it, and eat it in its raw state, I'm getting sick.
Bird food.
Probably not humans' food. It's probably bird food, just like Rick said. You know, and most of your grains are bird food, by the way. You know, so grains, like, you know, the world the grains are supposed to be so healthy. You got to have your grains. It's one of the major food groups. Since when? Because like, you can't go out into the field and eat most grains. You know, they're either A, poisonous in their raw state, they're going to make you ill, or two, they're encased in a hard outer shell, and you're not a bird. You don't have a beak that can bust that thing open and get to the germ and the nutrients inside. What do humans have to do? We have to dry it. We have to lay it down on a flat surface. We have to roll a stone over it and crush it to try and get to that stuff. What's that tell you? That was not designed for you to eat.
No.
That's my food philosophy. So
it actually makes sense.
Yeah. So if you want to have some blueberries, have some blueberries. You can literally you can find blueberries in the wild, pluck them and eat them, and you'll be fine. So, you know.
I never understand who can eat oatmeal or who can eat cream of wheat. That stuff was horrible. I hated that stuff when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I used to give it to the ducks.
And they probably.
I don't care how much I doctored that stuff up with peanut butter, chocolate, sugar, syrup, whatever it was still horrible.
I used to eat it because I thought it was, you know, reducing cholesterol and all that. I was caught up.
Heart healthy.
Yeah, heart healthy. I had to load it down with butter, honey, and cinnamon. It's the only way I could eat that. It's wallpaper paste, man. That's all it is. Paste.
My dad ate that stuff. I've never seen him eat that stuff almost every day for the last, like, from the time he passed away, probably 10 years. And he's like, yeah, this is cholesterol buster right here. This is what the heart doctor says. That's why I eat this. And I don't know how you can eat that, Dad. I don't know how you can eat that nasty stuff. And he just put it in the microwave, the quick 1 minute oats with water, and he put aspartame in it. And I'm like,
well,
no.
And so, like I said, I was caught up in that too. I did the same thing. But I'd see these guys at work with the instant oatmeal, you know, and they get the hot water out of the water machine because they had a hot or cold, and they get the hot water out of the water machine. They make them a cup of that oatmeal, and I looked at that stuff. And even then, I mean, I wasn't carnivore, wasn't into nutrition or anything like that, but I'd look at that and I said, man, why are you eating that crap? Because you look at the ingredients, it's just nothing but sugar is all it was. They weren't eating, you know. But I was doing the same thing with my oatmeal. It's just I was making real oatmeal instead of that instant stuff. But yeah, honey, tons of butter, and cinnamon. It's the only way I could stomach it.
Some good comments here. CB Carmack, Kills' quote, from time to time, Nothing wrong with it, but making a habit out of it. Maybe it's time to think it through. So yeah, from time to time, nothing's wrong from time to time, but you don't want to make a habit out of it. So that's very good advice there. Jamet, keto peeps say fruit is okay. So who is right? Butter good. Too much butter or not enough? So confusing. Here's the way to kind of summarize it. Eat real food. Eat real food. That's what I try and elaborate on that by saying whatever God or nature provided. Okay. Eat real food. A cow, a deer is real food. You know, fish is real food. Eggs are real food. Blueberries, apples, real food. Okay. Cookies, not real food. Doritos, not real food. Hot Cheetos, not real food. Ramen noodles, not real food. Because, you know, can you find it in nature? Or did man make it? If you find it in nature, there's a pretty good chance it's real food. There are exceptions. If man made it, it's a pretty good chance it's not real food. There are a few exceptions. So,
and it's like everything else. What can you tolerate? What can your body tolerate? You know, Rick eats mangoes. He eats fruit occasionally. His body tolerates it. But there's other stuff the body won't tolerate. So you got to experiment for yourself. What can you tolerate? And what you don't want to do is live off of it. You don't want to be eating it all the time. Your liver can't handle the fructose if you eat it all the time. That's how you get fatty liver disease.
Fruit is survival food.
Bingo. I like that. Fruit is survival food. So you don't want to live off of it because fruit metabolizes in your liver before anything else. Sugar and fruit work totally different in your body, and fruit goes straight to your liver. And so you don't want to be hitting your liver up with that all the time. So you want to eat some fruit? Yeah, eat some fruit. Go ahead if that doesn't affect you. But just
there's very little fructose in a plantain.
Okay, there you go.
Right.
But like I said, just don't live on it.
Oh.
Jamet also says beef and butter gal eats a stick of butter, but now influencers say no, too much butter, not good. She's confused. If you want to eat a stick of butter, eat a stick of butter. Butter's real food.
Skinny people can eat whatever they want.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, this, when you're thin and skinny, then
yeah,
when you're
butter's real food.
I
you might put on weight. There's a lot of calories in butter. You know, if you don't need that energy, you know. But
I use a lot of butter. Not quite a stick a day, but I usually cook my eggs in butter if I eat eggs. And if I'm eating lean meat, fatty meat, I don't have to. But if I'm eating lean meat, like a burger patty or something like that, I'm going to have butter with it because it just doesn't have enough fat. But I only use it for the fat content. You know, I'm not eating butter just for the sake of eating butter.
Right.
It also depends on your metabolism too.
True
the higher your metabolism, the more you can, tolerate.
Well, and man, I wish I could remember names. Anyways, one of the guys on our deal here on the chat, he quit butter and started losing weight again. You know, so butter can hinder you. If you eat too much of it, your metabolism, as Kelly says, doesn't handle it as well.
If you look,
I quit butter. So
look at any video of a meetup, and how many of the people at the meetup do you see that are skinny like me? Very, very, very few. So I tell people, don't follow my advice because I'm a totally different body type than the average person on the carnivore diet.
Yeah,
and they probably don't work physically daily. I mean, you got to adjust it.
For me, it's been almost 3 weeks since I've had butter. So, I haven't had even a pat of butter.
It's like the whole fasting thing. If you're the average carnivore that's overweight, you can do the fasting. But if you're skinny like me, like a vegan, fasting
harder.
don't work.
You need
Yeah, you got to have the 3 meals a day.
That's right. And if I
And-
don't eat the 3 meals a day, my energy level goes, and then I get lazy.
So let's help Jeanette here. We'll get to Meathead in a minute here. Good to see you, Kurt. By the way, she says, but I thought butter and fatty beef is best for us on carnivore. So yes, if you're eating carnivore, you don't want to eat lean. So enjoy your butter, enjoy your fatty beef. Fat becomes your energy source when you're on a strict carnivore diet. So that's why you will have that admonition. So yes, and beef has just about everything you possibly need in it, barring a few things. So I do think you should eat the rainbow of meats on a carnivore diet. I'm not really an advocate for just a strict lion diet, but it's okay, as a short-term intervention, I think.
Well,
And,
it was like I said, if it's a fatty piece of meat, I don't need the butter.
Right. Yeah.
I need the fat. But if it's a lean piece of meat, then I'm going to add butter to it. If I'm not going to add butter, I'm going to add tallow. I'm going to add something to it. Because I can't stand meat that doesn't have fat in it. It's just
I agree.
it doesn't work for me. So I have to add something to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I'm using it for the fat content, not just for the sake of eating the butter.
Jeanette says, talking about how much fat in beef, butter, bacon should we have, as I can't eat that much fat. So again, you don't want to go overboard. If you go overboard, you eat more fat than you have the bile to handle that given meal, then you're gonna end up with diarrhea. It's gonna go right through you. So
Right.
there's balance there too. So I couldn't eat a stick of butter. Or I would condemn myself to the bathroom probably within the hour. So, but other people can. They ramp up their bile production and they can handle that.
You've got to learn your body.
Right.
You've got to listen to your body.
For
example.
Yeah, you stick of butter, no problem.
Yeah.
I can eat a stick of butter. It doesn't bother my bowel movements whatsoever. Other people can't. We're all different in that regard. So you have to figure out what works best for you.
It's the veggies that hurt me.
Yeah. So several on the
there you
panel,
go.
several on the panel do well with very high fat ratio. Then you have yours Cutler says, I quit the daily addition of butter. So he took out added butter. And then we have Uncle Charlie, who we've talked to today. He's talks all the time how he's draining his bacon grease. He's not adding lots of butter to everything, and he's actually lost more weight and feels even better.
Yeah.
So it varies per person. With someone starting out, we always say that that 1-to-1 ratio or that 70-30 fat to protein ratio and calories wise. Some people do better with 80-20. Some people do better 60-40. It's not a one size fits all. So
No.
fat is essential.
If a
Protein
person
is
is carrying,
essential.
if you're carrying a lot of fat on your body, why do you need to add more?
Exactly.
Right.
That's true. That's an excellent point. And what are your energy levels like? Because
That's it.
the whole point of eating the way we eat is to produce ketones for energy. All right. Because we're not using glucose for energy. We have to have some form of energy in our body. So we have to use ketones for that energy. Where are we getting that ketones from? We're getting it from the fat that we eat, or getting it from the fat that's in our body that needs to be burned. So what are your energy? If you've got plenty of energy, maybe you don't need near as much fat. If you don't have much energy, maybe you need to increase your fat. What are your bowel movements like? Makes a difference too. Because if you're loose, you may need to cut back on the fat. If you're a little constipated, you may need to add a little fat. You've got to listen to your body and do what your body says it needs.
All right. I like that saying, Isabella. Listen to your body and stop listening to all the influencers out there. The influencers, are there to influence. What they have is valuable to say. But again, You know, it's they're all just kind of guidelines. They're all kind of parameters that you want to operate within. You know, but how you operate specifically, it has to be tailored to you. So, all
Yeah,
right.
I had to learn to not follow somebody else. I had to learn I have to do what's best for me.
Mhm.
Because like I stated earlier with the electrolytes, I was doing electrolytes because why? Everybody else was doing them. That's what the influencer was doing,
Right.
you know? And it probably came close to killing me. That's why I had to learn. Don't listen to them. Listen to yourself. Do what's right for you. You know, and I've experimented. You do your own experiment. Try this for a little while. If this doesn't work, try this for a little while. You know, don't do what I do. Do what's best for you. You could try something that I do, but if it doesn't work for you, don't stick with it. You know, follow the basic guidelines of carnivore. Eat meat, salt, water. If you don't need the salt, cut the salt out, like Rick does. Rick doesn't use much salt, but meat and fat is the main things of carnivore. You know, just follow that guideline and adjust however your body needs it.
Hey, Rick, could you turn your TV down?
TV? There's
Or
no
radio?
TV.
Radio?
No radio.
Oh, when I mute you, the background noise goes away.
That's weird.
I
My
hear.
whole system's going to shut down any minute now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's on a mechanical timer.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
surprised.
Well, in the meantime, let's move over to Kurt. He's been waiting patiently, and he's just recently joined in. Kurt, how are you doing?
Oh, I just sort of like that little devil that heard the F word and I had to pop in. My ears were itching. I was like, whoa, okay.
Nice.
You taking it easy?
Taking a sleazy.
All right.
Yeah.
I would expect nothing less from you.
Yeah. Still in the midst of getting the decision turned so I can get my workman's comp, dealing with the attorney, work, medical, all that nonsense, getting woke up at 7:30 in the morning, asking me 10 million questions. So, but yeah, I just wanted to pop in. I just got a few minutes before bed. Got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, a follow-up. Wanted to say hey.
All right. All right.
But yeah, I got a shock when you said that F-bomb.
What the fruit bomb? What F bomb? I don't know what you're talking about.
What just after you said about Dr. Amara's diet? If you can't what?
I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't swear. I didn't swear.
Oh. Probably because I didn't hear you correctly. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I know I didn't swear. I didn't drop an F bomb.
There's another terminology, or not terminology, but there's similar, but it has the F-bomb in it.
Well, the F-bomb meaning fruit.
Yeah.
But
Or Frosted Flakes.
or frosted. Yeah.
don't get me started.
I'm trying.
Well,
to
we
think, like I
decided
said,
we're gonna. Jeff's decided he was gonna name the next goat Frosted Flakes or peanut butter, and so that way we can have a peanut butter on carnivore, or carnivore peanut butter, or carnivore Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
If I was to have any animals, I'd name them dinner.
I did that. I had one name burger. I had one name sirloin of beef. I had a goat named Dinner, and it's funny because I got a picture of him. Goats like to climb on things, and I got my big pit smoker out back, and I got a picture of that goat actually standing on top of that smoker, and I'm like, see, he knows his destiny.
That's funny.
So did anyone watch Carnivore Teacher's video today with him doing the
He live streams at 6:15, I think.
No, this is prior to the live stream. He did a video where he processed a strip loin, or not a strip loin,
Yeah,
but a
I
rib
watched it. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I was at work probably.
It might take a couple years, but people are catching on. I've been doing that ever since I started carnivore because that's the only way you can afford anything.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do it, Bob?
How to cut the perfect ribeye steaks from a whole ribeye roast? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm sorry.
How to cut a perfect ribeye steak from a whole ribeye roast?
Yep.
Or
That's what
even
I
a
did.
strip loin.
Yeah, any of the big roasts, you can cut them like that.
I did that. I had a video probably a couple 3 weeks ago where I bought a strip loin and made got 12 New York thick cut New York strips out of it.
Yeah. The mistake he made though is he used the Sharpie to measure how. I was like, dude, you can't do that. Just use the 3-finger method.
Yeah, I thought that was weird that he did use that because I don't think a Sharpie's biodegradable.
No.
You know, now if you cut that piece of meat off and toss it, I guess it probably ain't too bad. But I eyeball them. But
Yeah.
I had the advantage of, and I left a comment on that on his comment page there
Yeah.
that I used to cut meat in a restaurant and cut steaks in a restaurant. And I got good enough that I can cut a 16-ounce steak and get it within 2 ounces about every time, just eyeballing it. Even when the end gets smaller, I know how much thicker I need to cut it to still keep it at 16 ounces.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, Bet is calling me.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for popping on.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you too, Kurt. We'll catch you on the next one.
Good to see you,
All right.
Kurt.
Get some
take care.
Z's.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Speaking of getting some Z's, it is after 11. And so we'll wrap this up. But I saw one more comment. And the comments are slowing down too. That's usually a good sign that it's time to go off the air. CB Carmack said, I like a video by Bart K explaining fruit and how it blocks the production of ATP in the liver. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So that is true. Fructose is a toxin. Okay. And if you eat a bunch of fructose, you'll be worn out. You'll be completely tired. You'll have no energy. You see, kind of the opposite of what you think. You're thinking, oh, you eat a bunch of sugar, you're gonna have all that energy. Not with fructose, and that's because of this blocking of the ATP. So yeah, you eat a bunch of fructose, crash. Okay, and that's actually true. But I don't want to say that this means that like fruit is bad with a broad sweeping brush, because the liver is remarkably well developed, adept to handle a little bit of fruit intake. It's designed for that, and again, just like anything else, you don't want to overdo it. So you figure 25 grams of fructose in the form of, an apple or something, that you have a day, if you're on a fruit-based diet, your liver can handle that. And what the problem is when you consume more than the liver is designed to deal with, then you end up with fatty liver disease. So interestingly, like decades ago, only alcoholics had fatty liver disease. They called it was alcoholic fatty liver disease. And only in recent decades did you start getting children with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It used to be a drinking disease. Now it's not a drinking disease.
Right.
It's a fructose disease, because now our kids today, they're getting juice boxes,
Fruit roll, whatever.
and cola and candy, and they put fructose into it because it's addictive. Okay, and so now you got children, you've got toddlers, and even younger, with fatty liver disease, and it's crazy because this stuff did not exist. So yeah, fructose is bad. There's the evidence, because they're getting it in way more quantities than their little bodies and their little livers can handle.
Right.
But that does not mean that if you were, the type of person that was like, I'm going to eat an apple a day, you're going to be fine eating an apple a day. Your liver can handle that. So, and that's kind of where the standard American diet gets everything wrong. That's why our food system is broken, because they add fructose, they add all kinds of stuff to make it addictive, to make you want more. It doesn't produce the energy you want, therefore you crash, therefore you're hungry again, therefore you continue eating, and you continue getting fat. So, just stick to the basics. So, but that was a good comment. Bart K is correct there, and Bart K will speak against fruit and fructose. But he still eats it once in a while. He'll admit it. So,
Right.
All right, very good. We can talk about anything now. Let me look. We got 3 more comments. All right, very good. Yeah, thank you. Heading over to Grandma's Crochet Corner. Yes, she'll be streaming. She starts streaming at 9. She'll be streaming when we get off here. So, folks frequently fruit feasting feel fatigued fast. That's a tongue twister. Folks frequently fruit feasting.
How
feel
long did you get to write that one? Right.
I like that. Yeah, say it fast. That's good. I like it. All right.
I mean, another thing about, just really quick, another thing about fructose too is it can affect your CGM. A lot of times it doesn't come up the same way as regular sugars do. So people don't realize that. But
right. Yeah. So if you're diabetic, they tell you eat a bunch of fruit. That's not helping you any. But you're right. It might not show up because it's not glucose, so it's not reading it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's almost like a silent killer, as they would say.
Exactly.
So. All right. Very good. All right. So that's it from the panel here. We got Tom, our diabetes expert, Jeff, our heart expert, Kelly, our hip expert, and me, the kidney expert. All right, you guys can stick around after the show if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. So, everybody, thank you for such a wonderful night. Those of us who were on screen, it was the 4 of us here plus Rick and Kurt, and I believe that was it tonight. Thank you, all of you who joined us in the chat, and telling us what you thought of carnivore or Sean O'Mara's living diet. We didn't really talk about the potential ramifications of carnivore going mainstream with people in the White House and in government eating it, but I can see nothing but good resulting from it, at least from those who are willing to listen and want to do something about their health. So continue doing what you're doing. We wish you all the best success. We're here to support you in any way whatsoever. And if we don't talk to you between now and next week, we'll see you then. Have a great night. We love you all. See ya.
Good night, Joe.